Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack and Brian Daigle with this one from Tottenham on tour for the fan show. Brian, I know has some very important news that are really, really good news to give us today that I really am looking forward to hearing. But Brian, apart from that, before you get into that, how you keeping yourself?
I'm keeping well, mate. It's a horrible, horrible windy day here in London. And apart from anything Tottenham, everything is groovy. Everything is wonderful.
Good to hear.
The football on the football aspect, the exact opposite. Like the weather outside right at the moment, stormy, stormy. How are you, Jack?
Doing well, doing well. And, at the Spurs side of myself, as I said before, not doing so great. Every other part of myself, me, outside of the footballing part, doing all right, doing okay. But Brian, would you rather maybe I'll go through maybe some comments, maybe wait for some people to pile in
Yeah,
before maybe we get
that
the
sounds
news?
good
I
to me. I
just
just
want,
want to say as well, thank you to you and Jack for giving me the opportunity to come on and host the
no.
show with you and get well soon, David.
I know I think it's going to be a bit fun, kind of like there's some other show that as amazing as David is. There's some other show. I think it was the pre-match build-up we did with Kuva and James. Kind of added a little funny kind of element to it. A little bit kind
Yep,
of let loose a bit. I feel like this fan show might be kind of similar to a degree, so I'm looking forward to it. But
exactly.
let's kind of welcome a bit of the Harris Army, I think, Brian, and then we can kind of get to those absolutely wonderful news that I can't wait for the Harris Army to hear. But Ellie is saying, I can't come in tonight as have guests around for dinner, but I will stay in the comments. All right, Ellie, that is good to know because I was about to send you the link, but big yourself up, Ellie. Big yourself up. Good to see you. And also, let me know what they're having for dinner, Ellie. Let me know what's prepared for dinner. But Philip Brady says, away for a few days, limited coverage. Have a good show and see you next time. I mean, everybody that is a member, I would say step in. A lot of regulars, a lot of, goats, I would probably say the channel, especially the fan show with Ellie and Philip, not coming in tonight. I would say anybody with that membership in the comments, feel free to come on. There are plenty of spaces available. George Hill says top four shouldn't be over, but there are 4 to 5 teams that aren't good enough for top four, fighting for fourth. Big up to Jack and the super sub, Daigle, super sub, absolutely.
There
And
we
hope
go.
the legend David gets better as soon as possible. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Harris Army. George, big yourself up and hope it's not too cold up there, my man. Hopefully it's not too cold up there. Matt C says, how are the boys doing today? Doing pretty all right, Matt C.
All
Doing
good.
not as well as I was probably about 12 minutes ago if Liverpool hadn't scored, my man, but doing good all the same. Like I said, the non-footballing side of myself doing good. Bobby K is in the house, says, good afternoon, everyone. Looking forward to meeting you today. Bobby K is already getting in there nice and early. We will be seeing him. Welsh Gal says, greetings all Harris Army. Love Flat Cap. Good to see you, Welsh Gal. Absolute legend. Ladies and gentlemen, live from Brooklyn, New York. It's time for the main event of the evening with thousands watching around the world. There's one thing left to say. Let's get ready to rumble. Big up, Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Get up, Tantrum. Shane O'Neill. But I will say, like, Tottenham Tantrum Gold, I would say, honestly. I wish he just came in for all of those and then, came later on the fan show. If there was some sort of mic, Brian, that
Yep.
dropped from the ceiling, I mean, it's just
Got
somebody's got to.
Bernard's name written all over it.
Somebody once the studio of some sort comes in, you just get Dermot to fly in just for that alone, just to introduce everybody. But Dermot, you'll make a living for it. Shane O'Neill says Sanchez, Davies, Wingstar, Doherty, Hoiberg, Emerson, Lucas all go through stages of deception to try to fool us, but I'm not falling for it anymore. Form is temporary, lack of class is permanent. Shane, you're spot on, and this is something I'm going to talk about later. I kind of said they're kind of like what's on top of the milk carton, the expiration date. That's what it seems like their form can be like, where all of a sudden, you feel like maybe they're recovering, and then there's this expiration date when it comes to their good spells of form. And I think Shane, you're onto something, my man. But big yourself up. And also Dermot says, no introduction in the world over. He's the man who scares Levy. Also, he's the number one Spurs fan in Canada. Here he is, Brian Levy out. Daigle, come on, you Harris Army. The best super sub co-host you could find in the business, but big yourself up.
Thank you.
Dermot, very, very honored. Mick, good to see you as well. Let me kind of got a little bit carried away with all the beautiful regulars I've been seeing in the building, but Sue Smith as well. Birdie, good to see ya. Niall Wood as well. Niall Wood, good to see ya. Derek Hutchinson, absolute legend, of course. Kane, the long shot. Kane, hopefully I'm seeing you later, Kane. Hopefully I can see you later. Hopefully Wednesdays are good for you. Brian Daigle in the house, just welcoming everybody as well. Anthony Gray says top 4 not over, but we need to start winning again soon. And an unexpected win against Man City will go a long way to calm the nerves and get that good feeling back. If we win against Man City, I'll start to think that gravity just doesn't exist. Because I would say, because every time we've beaten Man City, it feels like it's gone against all run of play, against all sort of form. We are sort of their kind of bogey team, which is hilarious, I think, to an
At
extent.
home, at White Hart Lane, yes, or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whatever you want to call it. Not so much at the Etihad.
Yeah, I agree, but we're just gonna that's gonna be my only hope is sometimes they seem to trip and fall against us, but we'll see, Anthony. But pick yourself up. Wembley is also in the house, and I hope David is recovered from that nasty sounding headache. It's getting a lot worse, my man. I think it's getting a lot worse, but he will eventually recover. He says, no doubt, brought on by experience of getting up at stupid o'clock on Sunday, only to be served up that steaming slop pile. I think it's a combination of getting up so early and sitting in the rain all day. And I think it's a combination of the football that was served in front of him. I think that also got him sick as well. Actually, Wembley, I think it's part of that. I think he got infected with what, was served up to him. It's an absolute disgrace that was the game that he had to be witness to. But Chris is also in the house, who we'll see later. Mark Cousins in the house. As well. Brad Matthews, good to see you. Mark Cousins, though, good to see you, my man. Brad Matthews as well, we'll be talking to. Just making sure. Wayne Smith as well is top 4 over. Yes, I've continued to play the way we've been playing him. So same to the team right now. Big up, Wayne. I mean, I felt kind of betrayed by it. But big up Vikas as well. Dan Coy's, good to see you, Dan. Is it a big win? Is it a big ask to win on Saturday? I'd rather a loss fighting tooth and nail for it rather than like we saw Sporting. Yeah, anything but a spanking will do to an extent. I think anything but a spanking, which it seems like not too much to ask if you ask me. It doesn't seem like too much to ask. But Para Miguel Escobardo, absolute legend, is in the house as well. Paul Markey says, call me delusional, but I'm going for Spurs 2-1 on Saturday. Paul, you can sometimes be the biggest realist in the house, and then you can go to this. But I'm loving it, Paul. Sometimes Paul hits you with the harsh realities, and then he'll do this as well. Big up, Paul Markey. Good to see you. Spaghetti Slayer as well. Good to see you. Andre Finzi and Badrul Mazid. Some new faces in here. Ronan O'Donnell, Liverpool are in a competition. The Spurs. Ronan. I'm not, Ronan, you're the nicest guy in the world, so I will let you get away with it. We'll let you get away with that. But pick yourself up, my man. Liam says, latest Conte interview. Check it out. I've seen some clippets on Twitter, my man. Moondog is in the house. The absolute legend. Barry Shelfside Spurs, good to see you as well. And then Leon the Kid, Antonio Montana, Rockstar 90, who's always so kind. And then Tiger Boys 65, Eating Boys. Nice to see Brian on. Good to see you, Tiger Boy. Oh, I said Tiger Boy 65. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. And then Mika Leo as well. Good to see you as well. But that's about everybody. It just welcoming everybody in. Around 90 people in the house. Please, everybody, do hit that like button. And please as well, Brian Daigle is about to give his message. That is a very important message. But do also as well head on over to Tottenham on Tour. Probably at one stage, during the fan show, to hit that subscribe as well, or even on your way out at some stage as well. Do hit that subscribe. But Brian, some really good news to report on.
Yeah, some really good. First of all, with you mentioning Tottenham on Tour, we are 60 away from 4,000. 60. Let's hope the Harris Army can unite in the way they normally do and get us to hit that milestone, because it'll be absolutely huge for me and the lads. I'm hoping he's watching, because he's just been messaging me before. I can finally give a Bob Spur update and a bit more in-depth update. And finally, I can start giving positive updates again, which is what, obviously I've been here for a long time now, and it's been hard having to know that I'm giving these updates that have been not the best. And it's been very hard to digest myself, Tammy and Kim. But I can finally start giving some good news. So the good news is finally we got the results. He does not have COVID. I repeat, he does not have COVID, which is first of all fascinating, fantastic to hear. The other thing is, obviously, what we were worried about last time when he got put back in the coma is that they were overworking him and it was too much too soon, and his body just weren't ready for it, and it kind of wiped him out. Well, they started going slower with him, but now they've started to crank it up. His rehab, his physio, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot he's got to learn. He's got to relearn still, obviously being out for so long. He'd spent a bit of time where just be in bed all day, but he's been out and sitting on a chair next to the bed. They've been working him hard. Apparently the doctors have said he's responding very, very well to the treatment. So they seem to be at a pace and a sweet spot that he is finally responding well to. He's still going to be in hospital for a little while yet, but people will see recently my Superman has been a lot more active in chats. And Bobby, if you're watching, do not send a super chat. You do not need to. If it comes up, believe me, if the one person that doesn't need to grab attention with super
it already
chat,
naturally glows. It already naturally glows.
It's you, sir. So please don't send in super chats. But yeah, he is responding well to treatment. He's been getting out of the bed. He's been sitting on the chair, but like I said, he's still got a few. I mean, there's no talk of him coming out anytime soon, but he is responding well to physio. They are very happy with him. He does not have COVID, so it's wonderful to finally be able to start telling these positive vibes out for Superman. And there you go. That is the latest update we have. As we said, me, Kim, and Tammy will always keep people updated. So if you don't hear any news whatsoever, whether it be on this channel, Tottenham on Tour, We Are Tottenham on TV, any of the channels, then there is no update. Believe me, there's nothing better we love doing than giving these updates, whether it be on the bad side, but obviously more on the positive side. So if you don't hear anything, it's not nothing's changed or we just haven't forgotten. It's as is. But what we can say this evening is that he is doing a lot better, which is music to our ears, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, I feel like, if maybe it was last week, maybe it was the week before that, but at one stage, you reported here that, he made kind of, a slight kind of hiccup or, something, a slight turn, in the progress, slight, obstacle. But we kind of also said though together that, the way it could be, kind of there were some benefits to take from it. There was some like, kind of way they started to really notice what was actually causing the problem. And it seems like now, fast forward a week later, 2 weeks later, all of a sudden now he's in miraculously a much better stage. So to a degree,
what it was, Jack, is when I went to see him the first
update that you gave, it's beautiful to see.
Yeah. So. What I will say is when I went to see him for the first time, he started making such strides. And they said to us when he came out of the coma this time that there is going to be some setbacks. It's not going to be just a straightforward upward spin and upward curve and everything. That expects some bad days, but I think with the way he was getting when we saw him and the way the doctors were talking about him, we didn't think the step backs would be as big as the one he did have, and that came as a shock to us, and it came as a shock to everyone when I actually had to announce it. But thankfully, this time they're taking it easy with him, because you got to remember he went into hospital on December the 8th, went into a coma December the 15th, and has been in and out of a coma for 2 months. So it's going to have a toll on your body, and they've got to take it slowly. But they seem to hit the sweet spot kind of with the speed that they're doing this at, and hopefully from now on we'll just have positive news to tell you, and then hopefully in the near future he might be back and saying piss off to whoever it may be.
Maybe we'll get him for the spring part of the season when we'll probably need Bob most, to bring a bit of sanity to the situation, because he did that in Twitter today as well. It just brought a bit of sanity, I feel like, back to the world when it comes to Spurs. So hopefully he can do that for us at least by springtime. But Bob, beautiful to have him back. So there is your update, everybody. Just want to welcome, I think, a few more people into the house. Ben Kaufman is in the house as well. Carl Simpson, Starsky, Levy Tooker, Tommy G saying also as well, best news about Uncle Bob Spur made my evening. Tommy, that's beautiful to hear, my man. Just making sure. And then as well, Kevin K, good to have you in here. Punyani, good to have you. King Hoddle as well, absolute legend. Toxic Headshot, of course. And just making sure everybody. Adam McFarlane, of course. Matt C, good to have you. And then as well, but there you are, everybody. There's it's the we had to a degree some good Bobspur updates, I think a while back. Then it took a slight, obstacle, like I said. But it seemed like now they really are figuring out what's, what went wrong and what's been going wrong. And he's making beautiful strides. He's making exponential strides, which is just beautiful to hear. And like I said, just having him back online has brought a bit of sanity to the world. Just, even just his online presence. But Ben Kaufman in here with a super chat saying, "Evening all. I'm taking the night off. Have a great show." Like I said, everybody, appreciate it very much, Ben. But like I said, everybody, a lot of legends, a lot of regulars taking that night off today. I do apologize. It's just because
it's something
bit of an awkward week with the Monday being Valentine's Day, and then Tuesday being kind of a day where David's just not feeling well, and so we've delayed it. So a lot of people, a lot of new faces maybe tonight, hopefully. So there you are. Here's your opportunity, everybody. But Ben, do hope you're keeping well. Do really appreciate it, my man. And it was also a pleasure to have you for Champions League yesterday, Ben. So really do appreciate it, my man. But good to see that you're keeping well, Ben. Bobby K says, "Get well to Bobspur and David. Flatcap Army in the house. Like and subscribe. Things are bad. We can support each other, though, through this mess. Come on, you Spurs." Bobby K, beautiful, my man, beautiful. And we're looking forward to speaking to you later. Brian, anything to say to maybe Bobby K, before we get him on a bit later? He is in the line, so maybe, I'll have to sit on it, kind of have to dwell on it.
All I will say, Bobby K is coming on now. Bobby K is a dear friend of mine, and his whole family, his kids, his wonderful wife, have helped my life into Canada become a lot more easier. I feel like there's an extended family there. He is a very, very close friend of mine that we met through Toronto Spurs, and ever since then have been inseparable. And he started getting on the YouTube channels now, and he started doing it to support myself and Tottenham on tour, but now he's loving it. And I can't wait to get him on another channel. It's going to be great to have him on.
It's going to be great to have him on. It's going to be great to have him on. And I've been seeing him lots of times in various chats for comments, and I've always loved Bobby K. And it's like I said to him, and it's just good to finally get a beautiful face to a name that I've always really liked seeing in the chat. So Bobby K, looking forward to what you have to say. I've also seen him before on your channel as well.
Yeah.
Give absolutely fabulous comments. So looking forward to a bit of the same over here. If he can do even half of what he did on your channel, I'm looking forward to the conversation. But Bobby K,
he's got the addiction now, though, Jack. He's going to appear on everywhere now. He's got the YouTube addiction.
Yeah, he's got the bug. But Bobby K, really do appreciate it, my man. Really do appreciate it. I think then we can just start getting some guests on, everybody. But before I do, as always, everybody, like I said, do hit that like while you're here. Do please, everybody. There's already 122 in the house, so please hit that like as well. Like I said, not a lot of regulars are jumping on tonight. A lot of new faces are on tonight. So if you are maybe ever been thinking about it, do feel free, grab that membership. If you already have that membership, which plenty of you do, feel free to go on. I'm at least going to be here as long as the Harris Army needs. I know that there are some pretty bad results that we're going to be talking about, but feel free to jump on anytime. A lot of new faces, and as well, throw in a super chat if you want to ask maybe any of the guests something in particular, especially when it comes to people like Chris. I used to just berate Chris with questions, and it's also a great way to skip the queue as well. But let's get the first person on today. We do have him here, Brad Matthews. He's normally never the first person on. He's always way too kind. And finally, he can start us off right. Brad, how we keeping?
Opening the show. I'm fine. First of all, absolutely brilliant news about Bob. Thanks, Brian. That's really good.
Pleasure, mate.
And sort of puts football in perspective, really. It sort of makes you sort of realise it's not the most important thing in the world, although it does help. It does hurt when you lose, but no, that's great news. Hope David gets better. I do hope he's seeing a doctor as well. That does sound bad.
He's just getting a test, so he just knows, just in case.
Right, good. But well, no, I had an absolutely brilliant weekend, a really, really great weekend. Friday was great. Went to we had Tottenham TV subscribers party, and that was great. Brian was there, had a really good chat with Brian and all the people that are there, and then Saturday, just sort of chilled out, watched a bit of TV and that. Sunday, we all met at the Tottenham game. Saw a lot of people from this channel that watch this channel and have their own channels. It's like a who's who of Tottenham content creators. We all met up, had a really great time meeting people that I'm just basically used to seeing as blurs on TV. Went out for a really nice curry afterwards, a couple of beers and a curry, really nice curry out afterwards. Got a train home, no problems getting home. absolutely brilliant day. Really, really wonderful day. Oh, hang on a minute. There was just one letdown about the day was 90 minutes of football. That was the only letdown of what was absolutely brilliant day. So
it's nice that, Spurs, they make the losing experience, so, at least, more enjoyable for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it takes your mind off of things like
Maybe that's Levy's intention. It's just to sedate you,
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
Well,
lose,
you know what it is, Jack and Brad, and Brad, you'll be able to say if it's the same for you. When I used to go to Spurs before YouTube came along, and I started going on We Are Tottenham TV, and obviously all the other channels on my own, I used to go to the game, get into the stadium, obviously stand by the buttons and start with the singing, watch the game, get out of the stadium, go home. Well, now it's like the beginning and the after is the fun part. It's like having a nice day out with loads of mates, ruined by 90 minutes of football. Where it used to be, you look forward all day to get to the football. I look forward to meeting everyone, having a good sing-song in the goal line bar beforehand.
Exactly.
And then meeting after.
Yeah. And it's you build yourself up for it. But yes, this is it. You might have had a bad loss, but then your confidence is back up again, and you're all waiting for it, and then they let you down. And I think I said to you guys before, I was actually embarrassed because of how upbeat I was on this fan show last Monday after we'd had the Brighton result. I was like, normally I'm quite, sort of fairly negative one as it comes to Spurs. I've been supporting them for so long, but yeah, I was really upbeat. And yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah, this is great. This is the beginning of a new era. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And then they let you down, and I'm back to being pessimistic. So Southampton, I was so angry. If you ever meet my mate Steve, ask him how angry I was after the game. I just was ranting and ranting and ranting and ranting. And Steve likes to talk, but he could not get a word in edgeways because I was going on about everything. After Wolves, I think I was just numb. I really think I was just numb. I couldn't get angry. I was disappointed, but I could not get angry. I was just numb. And it was this sort of feeling of, they're doing it again. We've had a chance, and Man United.
Similar kind of last season to an extent with October to, when Spurs went on that unbelievable run with Jose, we kind of had all these aspirations. Like, I think as always was probably thinking, we're winning the league and winning American Idol and everything and whatnot that season. But I think a lot of us were, thinking, wow, we're really going for something here this season. And it feels oddly similar yet again under Antonio Conte.
I think the difference is last season, I don't think certainly not me, really thought we were going to win the league. I know it's nice to be up there in December and going, a top of the table clash with Liverpool, which we ultimately lost. But I don't think any of us really 100% thought we were going to win the league. Yet this situation we're in now, after the Brighton game, we've got a realistic chance of getting top four. And that's been shut out the window. I mean, Man United drew against the bottom team and then could only draw against Southampton, and yet they've gained 2 points on us. And it's crazy. So if I was a Man United fan, I'd say, well, actually, we should have won our games, but we've actually gained 2 points on Spurs. So now,
that's unbelievable because they have also been playing shamefully bad, and somehow we're playing even worse than they are, at least when it comes to grabbing points at the moment.
Well, I think my shirt, I don't know if you can see my shirt, it's a Football Manager shirt. I mean, it sums it up. Current ability 2.5 stars, potential ability 5 stars.
That is bang on the money. That's available in the club shop at the end of the day. That's brilliant.
Actually, I got some freebie from Sports Interactive when I went down there a few years ago.
If you could somehow put a Spurs logo in there, I mean, you could just probably sell that to this entire fan base for probably hundreds.
But it sums up Tottenham to a T because we're not a bad team, but I've got to the feeling now where I know we're all going on about the summer being the big change and that, and whether it will happen or not, I'm doubtful. But I want to see this complete team change. I think we've got so much players that have been in the losing team for so long. I think you can go through the team. The players I'd probably like to keep or must keep. Lloris, obviously. Kane, Son. And then you can't really blame the new guys, Bentancur and Romero, because they haven't been brought into the culture. But they're dangerously close to being brought into this losing culture that Tottenham seem to have at the moment. So I keep those. I keep Skip, obviously, because he's an up-and-coming young player. Højbjerg, probably, because he's only been here for, a season. But all your players like your Davises and Winks, no matter how they've improved under Conte, these are part of our losing Tottenham team for the last 7 or 8 years. Just get rid of them. I'm fed up with them. Sanchez, I was giving them a chance. No, sorry. They need to go now. And
do you feel like, Brad, because my whole top 4 hopes, I feel like I realized I had a moment where I was like, I realized my entirety of my top 4 hopes were hedged on a lot of those guys you just mentioned and a lot of people we will mention today, continuing these good spells of form, despite us knowing that, God, can they be woeful and can they be terrible? But I feel like I realized, but I didn't actually know this before, probably subconsciously, maybe I did, but I don't know about you, but I kind of felt like maybe the whole reason a lot of us were believing top 4 is because a lot of those players we thought maybe could continue this sort of, patch of form into the rest of the season.
Well, yeah. You know what? I think I got asked, and I think we all got asked the question, can Tottenham make the top 4 without any major signings or with the signings we got? And I think the answer I gave, and a lot of people gave, well, if the players that have improved under Conte continue to play like that, and we don't get any injuries, well, then we've got a chance. But you see after the transfer window shut, and they know they're not going to be sold, and suddenly the form drops, and it's annoying.
But I can still hear you. I mean, no, I can still hear you, but I'm just going to say, it felt like that, like maybe I was like, maybe, Sanchez won't be so Bambi on ice for the rest of the season, like it was just kind of like, thoughts like that. Maybe Harry Winks is, Joe's, Antonio Conte's man, and whatnot. But I don't know what Brian thinks, but it kind of did feel like my top 4 hopes were totally wedged on that when I realized.
I was gonna ask about a question on yourself, Jet. Now, after the Man U Southampton game, I spoke to a very, very good friend of mine who's a Manchester United fan. And he spoke to me, he said he was watching Paul Scholes on BT Sport after the game, and they're talking about what's going on at Man U. Is it Ragniak? Is it whatever? They said, do you know what? It's the case with these players. They either can't do what the manager is asking, or they won't do what the manager is asking, because they're kind of like 6 months later, he's gone. And it got me thinking, like, obviously we're seeing this 3-4-3, and I'm saying I've been saying for the last week and a bit that we just do not, this is his default setting, but we do not have the players that can play it. And it got me thinking, Brandon, what do you think? Do you reckon we got the players that won't do it, or we have the players that can't do it? Because I'm leaning solely on the can't.
I think I agree with you there, Brian. I think I made the comment to the person sitting next to me on Saturday that, everyone's going, we've got one of the greatest managers ever. I said, well, he's obviously very good, but they obviously can't carry out his tactics, can't carry out his instructions because they're probably a bit dim, and I think that's what it is. I think they try. I mean, I think they tried on Sunday, but I think you're right. I don't think they can. I mean, I haven't forced myself to watch the 2 goals. I mean, I'm at the other end of the ground, but from what I've heard, the defence was absolutely woeful in just basic things that you teach school kids in marking people and that sort of stuff, and what makes it worse is the fact that we have got Conte as our manager. If we still had what's his name, Nuno, we could say, oh well, we got a crap manager sort of thing. But no, we've got a great manager who must be getting so frustrated. We've been overrun in midfield 2 matches running now, so I think we've got to go to the 3-5-2. And if that means sacrificing Lucas Moura, who I think does his best, if that means sacrificing them, well, so be it. Play Kane and Son up top and have you 3 in the midfield. Even if it is Skip, Højbjerg and Bentancur, which is slightly defensive midfield, but even if it is, then you can at least try and get some sort of control in there. But it's very just very, and we're the thing is about Eric Dyer. Suddenly we all want Eric Dyer to come back. Who'd have thought that at the start of the season? But
just
now
quickly,
he's
Brad,
what
do you make of this comment from Angel? Do you feel what do you make this comment from Angel? Do you think because this has been brought up before to me, and it's like the most disgusting sort of like thing to think about. I feel like, do players really turn it on like during the January window so that they can keep basically their pay packet for the rest of, the entirety of.
You know what? I mean, I guess I probably said that a few
when I'm emotional, I'm thinking absolutely. When I'm like, calm about it, you got to think.
I think if you look at the plain light of day, I don't. Okay, some players might turn off, but I don't think the majority of. And let's talk. We're talking about any professional football club. These are professional football players. And yeah, I don't think they purposely turn off, but there must be some sort of subconscious thing going on there. And that's what I think is the main problem. One of the main problems at Tottenham is this mental thing thing of losing all the time. It's going to get
Brian, what you got to remember as well, the amount of people, and this is actually a thing, not all players or whatever, but we all know there's certain players that pick up their 5th yellow card just before Christmas, so they can't play Boxing Day, and they're like, "Oh look, I can spend Christmas." So I'm not saying, but you got to look at it and say that sometimes the players they've got a thing like that, because when they're about to get sold, obviously if they're about to get sold, if that other club offers them less wages, 9 times out of 10, forget the progression of their career or regular football. Some people are that way inclined to think, yeah, do you know what? I'm on a cushy little. Look at Ozil.
Well, the ones we're talking about, Brian, are the ones. The ones we're talking about. The ones we're talking about. Spurs is the biggest club they'll ever play for. So that's the case with Winks. That's the case with Davies. It's probably the case with Sanchez.
It probably varies.
I mean, that's probably why. So it does make me think like, maybe they do kind of turn it on or really give their best.
I think
during these
maybe someone like Winks, who's a boyhood Spurs fan, probably wouldn't, because he wants to play for Spurs because that's his team, But maybe do have some players that think, oh, I want to stay here, But let's face it, some of the players that have, we wanted to sell in the summer, people like Sanchez, who seem to be quite willing to go, and then. Suddenly but he's sort of playing better. But then again, if you know that your club's run by Daniel Levy, you know that you're probably not going to be sold anyway because they're not going to set the price for you. So, we somehow got rid of those 3 or 4 players on. Well, I say get rid of. I hope that Brian Hill comes back, but yeah, we got rid of those 3 players, including Dele Alli, on the last couple of days, and that really surprised me. So if you are Davis and Sanchez, we'll think, well, they're probably going to ask money for me anyway, so I'm quite safe here, But I do get the point. I do get the point that I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I do get that point. And what you were just saying, Brian, there must be players that do that. I'd like to think that with Conte at the helm, that they haven't got that attitude, and that if they have got that attitude, we'll buy in the summer. But
Hopefully,
yeah. But I really do feel now that we need a complete. I mean, we've been going on about the painful change. I think we need it now, and I just don't think this current team can win anything. I think they're just shot to pieces. I hope I'm proved wrong. I'm looking like a complete idiot at the end of the season. So, well, we've finished 4th and won the cup, But I somehow doubt it. But yeah, I thought that a lot of times with this team that they, in the big games when it matters, they don't play very well. And we've now got. I remember
the case with the squad for a few seasons.
A few weeks ago, I remember saying it's all very well saying we got all these. I think we had 2 games in hand at the time. I said, yeah, but 2 of the games we got to play away at the Etihad and away at Anfield, and I can't see us getting any points from those 2 games.
Oh, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, so that's so there's your 2 games in hand gone. And then we, I think we've got 3 games in hand now, but we're a lot further away. I think mathematically now we can't even go 4th if we win our games in hand, because I think Arsenal, I think they do us on goal difference. So, that's an interesting point. Before I forget, someone in one of the chat WhatsApp groups, some computer has predicted that we'll finish 4th this season. So
I got them that. See, this is the thing. What you got to remember as well. I mean, if we look at the games if we look at the games that got postponed, forget the way the calendar and the table lies. We're away to Brighton now. Brighton, we notoriously do badly out away, and really struggle. Burnley away is always a hard game, especially with them fighting. And I think the Premier League have got to come out and just put this Arsenal game in the calendar. I swear to God, and this is just me saying it, I swear Sky are holding on to this to wait to see how big that big 4 clash is going to be when all the games are level, to think, right, we put it near the end of the season to have like a blockbuster North London derby winner takes all, or do they just pencil it in somewhere? Because the fact that this game hasn't been given a date is just ridiculous. Now, what was it? It was meant to be in, I believe, January, wasn't it? It wasn't February. It was January. It was meant to be in.
Yeah, it was January. Yeah.
It was meant to be in January. Here we are now, coming to the tail end of February, and we still don't have a date for this game. I know a lot of it. People are saying depends on our FA Cup run, because obviously if the FA Cup's on, if we get knocked out, then they can do it on an FA Cup day.
Yeah.
But they just need to say, right, this is the day. But I'm just very concerned that Sky are dangling this carrot, because they've got the rights to it, to do it as a norm, like when we had Man City a few years ago when Peter Crouch scored that goal.
Yeah,
it's looking set, and we just need to know when this game is.
Yeah. I'm with
yeah,
you.
I think there's 2 games to organise at the moment. So I think Brighton away and then the Arsenal game, isn't it? Because we've got Burnley.
Yeah.
Burnley, I think we did reorganise, so maybe about
Burnley,
2 more.
Burnley in a couple of weeks, I believe, or within the next. Before I know, it's before I fly back on the 6th of March.
Yeah,
Yes, there might be. Well, I say there might be. Probably won't be, but there's another game that might be postponed. That's the game on FA Cup final day. So
yeah.
So make of that what you will, or it'll be the day that, or they'll organise the winner takes all game against Arsenal after the last game of the season, and I'll be with you in Toronto, Brian. So
there we go.
There you go.
There
you go. Well, Toronto would love to have you, mate. Trust me. We'll come to the Scotland Yard and have a good day.
Yeah, I would like to go to Scotland Yard to watch a game, but
yeah, we might get Jack over.
There you go, Jack.
We could organize a bit of something. Organize it. Absolutely, a flat cap convention. You know, been so many flat cap conventions I bet recently by the YouTube community. But Brad, pleasure to speak with you as always. Really, really great job. Really great way to kick it off. Great way to set the tone, my man.
Everyone, as I say every week, click like and subscribe to this channel. Click like and subscribe to Flat Cat Euro Talk. Click like and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Click like and subscribe to anyone that comes on tonight. And there's some really great people coming on that have got a channel. Click like and subscribe. It only takes a few minutes and it doesn't cost you anything. And you won't get a letter through the post saying, "Oh, we've seen you've been doing this activity online." Sort of thing. So do all that. Hopefully Bob Spur will continue to improve. Hopefully Dale will get better. And hopefully we might get a point on Saturday. And I would bite your arm off now if you offer me a point, but I can't see it. I'll probably be more interested in watching the Khan, what's his name, fight on Saturday night.
Oh, Khan Brooks.
Yeah. And also another thing, before I finally go, be careful out there. There's a couple of big storms coming over. We've been warned in London of having power cuts this Friday, so be careful out there, people. But lovely seeing you guys. Lovely seeing you on there, Brian.
Always, Brad.
Absolutely.
Host and
well
that.
done.
And I'll catch
Brian,
up
I'll
with you.
speak to you once I've cleared the dates with Mrs.
Yeah, no problems. No problems,
All
Brian.
right.
Alrighty, Brad. Catch you, Brad.
Okay,
Good
guys.
hour,
Bye-bye.
Brad, buddy.
I
Love that,
absolutely
man. Love
class.
that, man.
He set the tone. He absolutely set the tone. But Ellie in here with a super chat with a super sticker, and it's almost like some sort of fruit of some kind, but it's cheering with pom poms. It's basically just cheering for the Harris Army. It's cheering for Spurs, and it's basically just being the best fan in the world that Ellie is of Spurs. She's the lady. She's like the Statue of Liberty for Tottenham Hotspur. I'll tell you that.
I have to say, it's brilliant that Ellie said this is how devoted and how wonderful she is. She's like, I can't come on because I've got a dinner party and I've got friends around, but I'll stick on in the comments. So she's literally commenting whilst her friends are around. She's like, Harris Army's on
in
the Harris
between,
fans.
and she's probably cooking at the same time, or maybe getting something, getting something organized. She's probably organizing the whole thing. What a saint! What a saint! Ellie, pick yourself up, but don't get too distracted. Don't get too distracted. You got guests in the house. Tin Man 007 says, I believe he said it later in the super chat, and you did not need to do that, Tin Man, but he says was meant to say good luck to Bob Spur. But he says, first of all, to Bob Spur, good luck to Bob Spur. Already messed it up. What do you guys think of Conte's comments today? Sounds like he was not happy at all on the January transfer window. I have not really seen these comments. I've seen some snippets of things on Twitter. Brian, have you seen what he's talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to the whole thing, but like I said, there's no smoke without fire. I mean, as people know, I've been saying this the whole of January. I've been saying this for a long, long time, and now the it's kind of hindsight is a wonderful thing, and now we can reflect on it. These things that Conte's coming out and saying, they're harsh truths. They are harsh truths. There's no doubt that I would imagine some extreme words have been said between the pair of them or via Paratici during January, and how can he be happy when we know that his creativity comes from the wing back? So we know what we have at right wing back, let alone left. It's how can this man? You know what? Whenever you get a job, whatever role you take, your managers are meant to set you up, or your bosses, or your superiors, whatever you want to call them, depending on what your profession is and the org chart works. You're going to be set up for success.
It sounds like he
Whereas,
just didn't get. It sounds like I feel like 50% of the job you could probably say was done for Conte. 50% of that was he got players out that he probably just at the end of the day, we simply saw was not using. And
yeah,
also he probably thought were maybe potentially toxic to what he's trying to achieve with the dressing room. But he didn't actually get players, and maybe apart from Bentancur, he only got really one player in an emergency position. There were a few kind of emergency positions. It felt like that he needed to
yeah,
get signings in, and if that's what he's voicing concerns about, Tin Man, I mean, I don't blame him. I don't blame him, Tin Man. Personally, for me, I don't know, maybe I'm just always under the cast of, what Spurs, I think are capable of what I versus what I think they should be capable of. But I kind of at least thought, considering what we could do in January, it was kind of tough for me to figure out, what the window really was. I kind of gave it a 7 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10 on different channels. But if Conte gave it worse than that, then maybe I'll have to take a look at that. But Tin Man, do really appreciate it. Do really appreciate the super chat. Really, really good comments there. And he also way too kind. Brian, I'm going to give you the
yeah,
super chat and take it away, just because New York always has these ringing of the bells.
yeah.
But take it away.
I mean, listen, top four when Conte first came should have been like, okay, this is the man. We can get there. We can get there. And it was all building up towards what we did in January. That's what it was all building up for. We waited and we waited and we waited, and we've just seen all these games in hand that we have are just fading away into insignificance. I always said having the points on the board are always more important than the games in hand, and I've never understood this with Levy, and I'm going to try and stay as far away from Levy as I can tonight, because I just get bored and tired of saying it. You really would have thought over these years that we haven't had top four, it would have been sense to invest to get top four, because once you get top four, more money comes into the club, you attract better sponsorships, everything is geared up at that club. The wonderful stadium, the training ground we always talk about being used, it's all geared up to host wonderful events and get the best sponsorships and get the best attractions. I mean, if you're in the Champions League and you can offer Conte playing in that stadium, and then take the player to the training ground and say, this is what your, oh, by the way, this is your living quarters, and we have the same bed that you have at home. We sort your oxygen out. It's like literally red carpet or blue carpet. Let's say we don't have any red here, and everything is geared up for success. But I don't get that final bit of the jigsaw where it's like invest in the team to get to top four. You earn top four money more regularly. There's a thing, you look at it, Arsenal, when they did it with Wenger for 20 odd years, the money they had pumping into that club will set the club up, excuse me, will help the club up for success. And now you've got the most elite manager we could possibly ever get. We're right now, we won't look at, if you look at it, Poch, Mourinho, Conte are three elite managers. The only other two that come close are Klopp and Pep.
Yep.
Those two are never, ever coming to Tottenham Hotspur. So the only way is downhill from here. So when you have someone at Conte, you have to give him the tools to succeed.
You have to give them the tools to succeed. All the other managers have. And spot on, Brian. Kafkov Gaming, though, do really appreciate it. And good to see you in here, Kafkov. To bottom Duda with an absolutely huge one. And he's saying it is risky to play a 3-5-2 with our wingbacks. 4-4-2 is safer with protection to the fullbacks. City will attack from the wide areas. Liverpool just won against a much superior Inter playing a 3-5-2. Conte needed defenders.
Yep.
To bottom Duda, I think there's so many beautiful things that you just said here. One of it is the fact that you probably just gave a better answer here to a question that I received earlier on We Are Tottenham TV. You probably just gave a better answer than I did earlier when asked, the same question. So I would say, props to you. But as well, the thing is, with the 3-5-2, my only concerns is exactly what you're saying is we don't exactly have the quality wingbacks with that 3-5-2. Yes, maybe you look a lot better in the midfield, but then you're asking a lot more of Emerson, Doherty, or Reguilon and Sessegnon when it comes to those right-sided wingbacks for us. Just, pick your poison, it feels like. And so with the 3-5-2, potentially you're asking a lot more of them. Whereas maybe with a 4-4-2, if you really get, the likes of potentially like Bergwijn and Lucas, or maybe Bergwijn and Kulusevski or someone to work really, really hard on those wings, the 4-4-2 could be effective. Also, the 4-4-2, I must say, is, like historically one of the most, effective defensive, formations, of, just history, I would say, especially in the Premier League. It's kind of what people like Sam Allardyce made their living off of, to bottom Duda, but I don't need to tell you that. But just quickly as well, I mean, I think, City will try to attack us in those wide areas, and Liverpool, the fact that they press in a very similar manner, it all just shows that maybe the 3-5-2 potentially could get hurt. And to bottom Duda, like I said, really, really do appreciate the really big one, but also you just gave a better answer than I did on Weird Time TV. So to bottom Duda, that's what I have to say to you. But big yourself up. And he's so generous that he put another one. He said, I will say this again, Paratici only looked good at Juve because of Morata. He was out within 2 years once Morata left. To bottom Duda, you're saying something I know Sean Snow, who I haven't seen in a while, so I must actually check in with that guy. But I would say Sean Snow for a long time was saying more or less a bit of the same thing. He was not convinced about Paratici because of Morata, and maybe, saying that Morata was really more pulling the strings, with Paratici kind of as being more of the assistant or kind of someone else that was working with him. And ever since Morata left, Paratici, maybe his true colors showed. Perhaps you could be right. I'd like to still think that he's doing, some things that, are against, his stereotypes. A lot of people said he's not good at getting players out. Just got Tanguy, Gio, and Dele out absolutely ruthlessly, kicked them all out. And so maybe some of the things that people criticize Paratici about perhaps might not be true, considering what he's already doing with Spurs. But I would say some of the transfers he obviously has made, maybe we're not so convinced about. And so he has maybe gotten some wrong by the looks of it, but who knows? Maybe down the road, they might, come true. But to bottom Duda, raising some really good concerns there, and really, really generous as well. To bottom Duda, really do appreciate it, my man. But we will move on. Just making sure I'm not missing any other super chats. But to bottom Duda, do really appreciate it. We will move on because we got people on a timetable here. Chris, how we keeping, my man? Chris, good to have you. I bet the Spurs side of you is not doing well. But hopefully you're doing well otherwise. But Chris, break it down for me. Two games that we probably thought were going to be 6 points, and we'd probably be celebrating, maybe top four.
It's a good job it's not Monday. It's a good job it's not Monday. But because if it was Monday, you would have heard a full blown explosion of what I saw of the two games. But I've calmed down a little bit from then, so I'm gonna level footing now.
I'm actually sorry then I couldn't get your fan cam in then, Chris, because actually probably
it would have been X-rated and it would have been banned off YouTube. Believe me, that's how I felt after the Wolves game. I was disgusted. I was absolutely disgusted. How some of these players are getting a paycheck, it's beyond me. Ben Davies stealing a living, Davinson Sanchez stealing a living, Winks stealing a living. I just don't get how they're still there. Just because the January transfer window's shut now, they're getting away with it. I was disgusted.
What do you make of that, Chris? Do you think it's spot on, that whole situation? With what Angel Matos was saying, with the fact that maybe
he is.
But do you think 100%. That's the case with Davies, maybe Winks, Sanchez? They just turned it on, for one window.
Yeah. They knew full well that Paratici could have just got rid of him, just like that, like he did with Tanguy, Gio, and Hill. He could have done exactly the same with them. They thought, I better step up a little bit for now. But that was a shocker on Sunday. The schoolboy defending, schoolboy defense, worse than schoolboy defending. Nobody would make those mistakes. Not a League Two team would make those mistakes. Come on, real talk. This is disgusting.
Chris, I'm just going to say something now. First of all, I want to thank the people in the Harris Army, because just going to bring up something that I think I'm picking up. That there's someone in the chat called Don Conte, as we say, that's just questioning me at period at games and obviously thinking that I'm spending money at the ground. So just to clear the record, as I do whenever it comes up, I'm lucky enough through this YouTube community to have picked up friends and people that when I come over to London from Toronto, and people know why I'm over this time. Last time it was for the NFL protest that I flew in specifically for, to make sure my voice could be heard with ENIC Out and help the ENIC Out boys and ladies. This time I'm back for Bobspur, and I'm very, very fortunate enough to have people like Ben and Simeon and other people within the YouTube community that give me tickets when they can't go. When I do go, I don't spend a penny in the ground. I don't spend a penny in the club shop. I don't let anyone buy me a drink in the stadium, because then me having a drink will give whatever they charge for a Coca-Cola or Pepsi, whatever it is in there. Levy will somehow get money that I've contributed to. I don't spend money in the shop. I go to, like people said, I go into that ground to support the lads and to make sure when Enoch out gets shouted out, that it gets shouted out louder with me there. Not a single penny of my money has gone to that club since the summer of the season that we signed no one. And that's why every day for 2 weeks I was outside the training ground at 6 a.m. until about 4 or 5 p.m. And why I was going on social media and gaining attention to try and get the Leave the Out movement to get more in the public demand. And I know everyone in the Harris Army that knows me well enough will vouch for it. So just to clear everything up, I don't spend a penny. I don't even have a Spurs shirt. I don't have one Spurs item. I'm wearing a We Are Tottenham TV shirt right now, because that's as close as I will go to having anything Tottenham related, because I will not give that parasite a single penny and will not give that club a single penny until he's left. But getting back to the game, Chris, do you reckon, I mean, for me, that 45 minutes against Wolves was probably the worst 45 minutes I have seen in a long, long time.
Brian, let me tell you one thing. There's only one game this season I switched off after 25 minutes, and that was the Arsenal game. That was the only one I ever switched off. But do you know what? It came so close for that one being the second game being switched off. I was absolutely disgusted.
I know what you're saying.
How can some of these players can call themselves professionals? I do not know.
I know what you're saying.
Do you know what?
I was the same way.
But then I looked at it. I was like, okay, everyone's screaming for Højbjerg and Bentancur in the midfield, right? I'll say this. Even if it was Højbjerg and Bentancur in that midfield, it would have still been the same outcome. Because that defense we've got are absolute shit. Sanchez falling over. Ben Davis just tackling himself. This is ridiculous. Nah. Romero coming back from injury, so we can't really criticize too much because he's still not 100% and you can see it.
Let's say Eric Dyer was back, Chris. Do you think it could have been different? And let's say Højbjerg comes in, and Højbjerg, Bentancur,
we need to skip.
Eric Dyer comes in.
We need to skip back. We do need to skip back in the middle of that field to stabilize it a little bit, because with Winks in there, jeez, I can't cope. I'm watching him week in, week out. He impressed during the transfer window. Soon as the transfer window shut, he's gone back to his usual standards.
Well, do you know what's actually funny? I think if we remember, Chris, I think in the case with Winks wasn't really, I think, originally kind of liked or favored by Conte, but he started working extraordinarily hard and kind of became the teacher's pet
in January.
Of it. Yeah, became the teacher's pet for Conte. No, I think he had a good spell of form, I think, before January, but he was just being the teacher's pet. And so that, got him, the spot ahead of Gio Lo Celso, that got him the spot ahead of Tanguy, that got him the spot ahead of, Dele Alli. It gave Conte, maybe I could give this kid a shot, again. And I think all of a sudden, but I think when he's gotten the pressure, Chris, I mean, think about this, when he's gotten the pressure now from Bentancur, Winks is all of a sudden crumbling again, like he did when Højbjerg gave him the pressure last season. He crumbles. Look,
let's get one thing straight. Gio was always injured. We could never fulfill the 90 minutes. Tanguy, just too lazy.
Couldn't be present to challenge somebody.
Exactly. Couldn't even be present to challenge. Tanguy, just too lazy. Didn't care whether he was there or not.
Yeah.
Dele, just not for the last 3 years. What was the point? So, really, you couldn't rely on those three players anyway, so it made no difference. But, no, do you know what, Jack? After Southampton, I thought the defence, Sanchez, gone back to his usual standards. But, everybody's criticised Emerson Royal. I will criticise him for the Southampton game because he had a shocker. But in other matches, though, he's been probably one of our better players. Okay, you can't cross.
I wouldn't go that far, but I've said this before. I've said,
Jack,
he had an atrocious performance. He had an atrocious performance, but I feel like maybe we're starting to forget that. Like, there are some games under Nuno and maybe 1 or 2 games under Conte where we were like, Emerson, maybe man of the match here.
Exactly, so but Jack, we've still got to bear in mind he's been in the Premiership less than 6 months. So players from like Brazil and other countries will take time to adjust their Premiership the way the Premiership goes.
He's had good performances, is what I'm trying to say. He's had
but Jack, you got to look at it like this. Some players will take time to settle in. Some players will come into the Premiership from another country and settle right in, like Bentancur has. He settled right into that midfield. But you've got players like Winks and Davis who are just stinking out the team, and it's making us look bad.
This is
the issue.
You know what it is with Harry Winks, Chris? Look. He is not a defensive midfielder. He when he plays, he can't play in a 4 in midfield. He needs, like when we play with a back 3 now, if a back 3, one of them make a mistake, there's 2 there to cover the mistake. So it's not as a prominent slip up. Or Harry Winks needs 2 players to cover him. I still don't get me wrong. I want him gone. But if you look at it in the games like Liverpool, when he was on the front foot, and then when he came on against Vitesse, people are, oh my God, he's passing forward. Oh my God, he's actually had a. We keep putting him in a position. He kept, whether it's Skip next to him, Bentancur next to him, Højbjerg next to him, he cannot be trusted in a 2. The only way I ever want to see him again, and I mean ever, is if it's in a 3. I don't want to see him again. I don't, believe me, he is one player that I don't want to see play
in a 2.
He definitely can't play in a 2. With Emerson,
no.
Emerson, we have to remember, was signed by Nuno to play in a Nuno formation. Like Ben from We Are Tottenham TV says. And then Conte comes in. This guy, we know he can't cross the football. We know he's got no creativity. And that's through no fault of his own. We didn't buy him for those attributes. And this is what happens when we keep going. And I mentioned Liverpool. When Liverpool got rid of Brendan Rodgers, they brought in Klopp, who is an attacking. They're both the same philosophy. So when they get players in, it's players that may play in the same kind of attacking, maybe not the right formation, but have the attributes of the next manager.
To attack.
We go from defensive manager to attacking manager to a defensive manager, a pragmatic manager to an expansive manager. So every time these manager cycles come in, they've got excess players that do not fit in their system. And that's what's happening with Emerson. That's what, to me, is what's happening with Emerson. He cannot defend, or he can defend. His position is woeful. He can't play alongside Sanchez. But going forward, he was never bought to be the creativity, and we all know
he was there to be a right back.
Exactly. Conte's creativity, because he doesn't play with a central attacking midfielder, comes from the width on the fullbacks. And Emerson was never brought in to do that.
You need creative players to be the fullbacks. You're spot on, bro.
And this is where we have the issue. We either play Emerson or we play Doherty. Doherty just doesn't know where his positioning is, because he never ever seems to track back.
But he's also not quick enough. It feels like, Chris. He feels like one of the slowest wingbacks for like for a 5 in the back system, for a 5 in the back system. One of the slowest wingbacks I've ever seen. Like, genuinely. Like, the guy.
Yeah. Jack, for me, it's like
league, you need to be able to get up and down the pitch. He can't get up and down the pitch because he's too slow to be able to do it.
Exactly. And then you've got Lucas having to run back to help him because he just can't keep up with the pace of the game. This is where we see an issue on the right hand side of the pitch, because you've got Lucas who's playing on the right side of the forwards. But he's always tracking back to help out the wing back. And this is where we're losing the positions. So the attack just falls apart constantly. It's just a stagnant midfield and then it stagnates up to the front. And then people criticize, we're not having enough shots on goal. We're not creating chances. But how, when your wingers can't create those chances for your forwards?
Yeah, I'm spot on, Chris. Absolute mic drop, my man. Absolute mic drop.
But people disagree with what I say. Like, for me, a 2 in the midfield does not work. I don't want to see Bentancur or Højbjerg in the centre of that midfield, because the defence behind them just ain't capable. They're not capable of defending. Once you bypass the midfield, you've got Sanchez, you've got Romero, then you've got Ben Davis. Sanchez, woeful. Davis, woeful. Lloris, with his mistakes appearing now and again, like Sunday, 2 mistakes from Lloris, 2 goals. But you can't pin it all on Lloris. It has to be those defenders covering. And there was a thing on Sean's show the other night. There was 6 defenders on the goal just outside the box.
Yeah.
And not one of them made a move. Not one. So this is where the issues lie.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Chris.
You got to look at it, Chris. When you look at the defense, and I'm just going to talk about the defense right now. If you look at it, and let's just talk peak Poch, okay? Peak Poch. We had right back.
We had two of the best defenders in the world.
We had. This is our defense, okay? I'm just going to mention the main staywards of it. So you had Walker and Trippier, both at right back, both very, very capable defenders during that time. Centre backs, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Dyer, and obviously the first two being the best defensive partnership we've had in recent history. And then the left backs were Rose and Davies. And Davies, even back then, especially with the season we came second, was highly influential in what we were doing with the rotation and everything. So that was a bank of 7 players I've just mentioned. 2, 4, 7 players. Fantastic. You could say, right, there's a rock. There's something to build with. So Conte's come in. We got Romero, who is levels above everyone. Dyer, who is proving to be decent, very decent this season. But then you have Sanchez, Rodon, Davies, Reguilon, Sessegnon, Walker, Doherty, and Emerson. And that's 10.
Yeah.
I've just mentioned 10 defenders.
Rodon
are at a level.
Rodon, for me, I think he should be given a chance, to be fair. Because he cannot be any worse than Sanchez.
But here's the thing, Chris. Maybe just think on this for a second here. Rodon has not been favored by Jose, really too. He's got his little spells under Jose, but he wasn't really favored under Jose, wasn't really favored under Nuno, wasn't really favored under Mason, wasn't favored under Conte. So it kind of makes you think like somehow Rodon isn't even favored over Bambi on ice. What does that make you think about like Rodon? Like, is it something off the field? Is it something on the field that we're not seeing?
To me, I think it's something off the field where he's not actually doing what he's supposed to be doing in training. Because if he was doing it right in training, Conte would leave those differences aside and put him in the team to make sure we win.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's something on the back end of it where he's doing something where he's not doing it right.
I agree.
Well, this I mean,
for me, Sessegnon shouldn't start over Reguilon. For me, that's a personal opinion. People might argue it, but personally, I would rather see Reguilon in than Cess.
So Reguilon, on his day, is sensational.
Yeah,
but he's just not having too many days where
sensational days.
I thought when we signed Conte, when someone said to me, "Who do you think the person's going to be the biggest beneficiary of Conte?" I was saying Reguilon all day. I thought this is going to be the absolute making of him going up and down that way. And he's had a couple. Like I was at the Leicester game. After he'd had a few games out, and he looked back to when we first signed him best that we've seen in him. But then there's just something that stops it. I don't know what's happening. It's just stops.
I think it's a confidence thing with him. If the team's playing well, his confidence thrives.
Yeah.
When the whole team's playing badly, it shows in his performance as well. So it's just not him. You can say that about Son. You can say that about Kane. If the whole team's playing badly, it reflects on the rest of the team. And when you've got bad players like Sanchez, Wings, and Davis, for example, those 3 bad players in the team, their bad performance will tally through the whole team. You'll see Lucas have an off day. You'll see Son have an off day. You'll see Kane have an off day. You'll see Romero have an off day. Luis, it will filtrate through the team. And that's what I saw on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct.
Those players having a bad game filtered through the whole team. The only time I saw a slight improvement was when Sessegnon come off and Kowalewski came on. There was a slight improvement there. That's when the improvement started to show, where we were starting to attack more, trying to get back into the game.
Spot on.
But before that, there was absolutely nothing to show for it.
No, there was nothing to show for it, and there was only one little good spell, I would say. Whereas, I agree with you. I agree with you, Chris. Absolutely spot on. But Chris, we do have more guests to get to. Especially, I do want the guest right after to get as much time as he can until he has to go. But Chris, as always, a pleasure, and as always, smashed it and are setting the tone as per usual.
First, let me just say, big up Bob Spur. Get well soon, sir. We're all thinking about you. And David, get well soon. And for the love of God, let's get a draw on Saturday against Man City, please. Just something to hold on to.
As us Jewish people would say, from your lips to God's ears.
There we go.
All right, let's have a good evening. I'll speak to you lot soon.
See you,
Chris.
Chris. Absolute
brother.
legend. Beautifully done, Chris. Beautifully done. Well done, Chris. And just absolute go. Always love Chris. Never seems to fail. Never seems to lack the energy. Always seems to bring something. But we're going to keep moving on. We're going to maybe have him, maybe help with the super chat. But it is Brian's partner in crime, who happens to share also the same name as well, from Tottenham on Tour. It's a bit of a Tottenham on Tour takeover. We do it on Fridays. We did it last Friday, but we're going to have it again. Here it is, Brian.
It's B2. Look, he's got the numbers up.
No, that was just peace for you two brothers. That was all.
How are you, brother?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you doing? What's happening?
All good, matey.
Enjoying the chat. I'm enjoying the chat. It's it's hard to not be able to respond when as you guys know, when you're in the background waiting, you're just like losing it a little bit. But I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, how about handle this one with me from Devadim Duda, and he's saying Conte blocked Tonali, that guy from AC Milan, that really talented young Italian player, and brought in Vidal at Inter. He likes experienced players who have won. Spurs target young players who could be sold in the future. Conte likes Newcastle / Aston Villa kind of business. So, Brian, maybe just want to kind of get your thoughts on this. It seems like Conte, I agree. I think the bottom dude is spot on. Not really. I think Conte likes young players if they're ready for the here and now. I don't think he discriminates based on age, but at the same time, he's not really there, to develop them simultaneously. He does like, ready-made players, as a lot of us do. But where do you lie on it? Do you feel like Spurs should maybe target more of those kind of, been there, done that sort of kind of players?
I think with Conte in as our manager, yes, I think we should focus in key positions in particular. We need a couple of winners in our side in key positions that are going to lead the team that have experience winning. I mean, we have brought in two players, arguably, I'd say Bentancur would probably be because he's been in playing professionally for longer, is a little bit older than Kulu is. It does bring that. He's got 4 Scudettos. He's got he's been in the Champions League. He's played at a very, very high level, and so that is a winner. That's the type of player that Conte likes. They could be young, they could be 2021 and still do that and still have that in them.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they're quality, and it is a mentality. It is a style of player I think that he's looking for, and it's a profile. And I think most of our players that we all agree, and of course Chris mentioned it previously, and we talk about it over and over again. We all agree that there's a number of players that don't have those qualities, that they are the players that need to go, because that's the quality we're looking for. It's the level of football that they can play at, and it's the mentality of understanding how to get over the line. We've had too many of those players that don't know how to do that at the team for too long.
Yeah.
And we've gotten rid of some of them, and some of them were had different issues as well. And we brought in a couple of good players, but Conte's comments come up have that's been a big talking point for the day, in that he's said some things. He said the harsh truths that they're absolutely spot on what he said. I don't necessarily think, though, that this is a sign of him being angry at the transfer window. I think it's a sign of him just saying, you guys know that this wasn't enough to remotely get close to where we need to be. When we get to the summer, that he's going to have really high expectations, and meeting his expectations. Sorry, Brad, what's that?
I call them call to actions. It's he's sounding it out way before, like John Taffer said in Bar Rescue Jack, as you'll know, when he puts them on the window, calls to action. I love it. God, I love a bit of John Taffer.
You think it's him prefacing kind of,
I think it is. I think it's a hey guys, just so you know, that wasn't quite remotely close to what we need to do. He knew this coming in. He must have known. He even said it in media, and I know it's media, and I know that they say the things that there's toe the line business going on. But Conte isn't that guy. He doesn't toe the line. So for him to say, this is what I was told, this is what I understood is happening, and this is what it needs to happen, he's just making sure that ball will remain rolling. So when we get to the summer, the things that didn't get addressed in January that we weren't able to get done will get done. And I expect that to happen in the summer. We had seeing him walk, unless something really stupid happens, which, it's Spurs, it could happen. And if something really stupid takes place and he gets really annoyed with Levy and is like, fuck this, I'm out. I could see that, because, Levy will do something stupid and Conte won't put up with it. I hope that isn't the case. And I don't think it's gone that far at this point.
I think I've cracked it. I think he saw that the Spurs announced that their South Korea tour 5 months early. So it's like, if I start mentioning things 5 months early, i.e. transfers, maybe that will get their attention, because obviously we all know what happened in January, and it was a farce. Adrian, from a great Facebook page, I can't remember his name, but I'm part of it, was saying, yeah, big summer needed. And obviously we've all heard this before. I mean, I go into this and we know my stars. I go in thinking, yeah, all right, whatever. Here we go. But again, hopefully these warning shots, I think, do you know what? I think this may be the first in a series of interviews like this, building up towards the end of the season.
You know what I love about it? Sorry to interrupt, but you know what I love about it? I love that it's on Spurs TV. So it's there for everybody to see.
Sanctioned by them,
it's like the club is going to have to let it happen.
They're fine with it.
Yes, they have to be. They have to be, because Conte has all the power now, or at least he should be. In theory, he should have it. And if it isn't given in the summertime, then he will walk, and we will be in deep trouble, and it'll be obvious whose fault it is. If it already isn't, Brian, for the rest of us who are pretty aware of it. But
absolutely. But spot on answer, I would say initially, Brian, actually, not to bottom dude. Hopefully you got, that initial answer, because I would say Brian, really well answered. Really well answered. Buddy. I would say hit a lot of elements of it. But to bottom dude, really appreciate the generosity, my man, throwing in some big ones in here. To bottom dude, I really appreciate it. And David in here, absolute legend as well, all the way from California. Absolute go to the Harris Army, says squad isn't good enough. We have to upgrade in the summer and back Conte. Just want to say great work, Brian. Lots of fans outside the UK appreciate all your work.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. That's right.
You can ride my coat.
I'll take it. Whatever I could get, Brian. Whatever I could get.
All I got to say is this is the thing. I really appreciate this, David. People have got to remember as well, when we were doing this, it wasn't just about transfers in and where transfers out. It was about a long thing like the highest price season tickets, the highest price kit manufacturers, the 7% food hike, the lying from the video and the Aston Villa statement, the sacking of Martin Jol, the way this club is run, the not backing directors of football. This wasn't just 5 players for the team. This is a whole big thing that goes a whole lot deeper than transfer activity.
Right. There was a comment I'm sure you saw earlier about you not spending money, but then the club, where are the club going to get the money for the? Well, I mean, they're billionaires. Where do you think they're going to get the money from their pockets that they keep filling? I mean,
exactly. I mean, you know what? I've got a bright idea with the money as well. How about you actually name the rights to the stadium? I mean, we've actually got a guy on the books that we signed from the NFL, Brian. You'll know, and Jack, the guy from Dallas Cowboys that was huge in the Miami Dolphins and getting their naming rights. He's been on the books for 18 months or a year.
Yeah.
And he's a whiz kid, and he's the go-to guy to go get these naming rights done. And when you hear anyone say about Tottenham Hotspur, we're still going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This naming rights is a fast.
Guys, I hate to interrupt. I don't have a ton of time, and we've Brian, you and I have had this conversation a million times. I would love to talk a little bit about tactics, if that's okay.
Just do it.
Take it away, my man.
It's more about just sort of the shape we've been playing, the debate between the 3-5-2 and the 3-4-3 or the 4-4-2, and I want to talk a little bit about specifically the missing players and what that has done to the squad, and to the results in particular. Because if we've lost 3 in a row, we've been without our spine, arguably. Eric Dyer and Oliver Skipp and Højbjerg not playing at the top of his level, or at least the level he could be playing at. If you look at the statistics, and I tweeted this the other day, when Dyer, Højbjerg, and Skipp all start, we played 5 and we conceded 0. When they've all started, or when they don't start, we played 7 and conceded 13. That is an insane statistic. Between it's 2 game difference, but even if you put the Man City game and another game against a difficult team there, it still would be an absurd statistic. I don't necessarily know how much it is about the formation, the 3-4-3 or the 3-5-2. It's missing those two key players in the spine that make a massive, massive difference in how we play. Nobody would have thought Skip would be this important, but he has become this important to how we play. And Dyer as well. Dyer, we were all like, Dyer, get him out of my club last season. He was awful. But he under Conte has flourished until he got injured. I do think, and I hope he's back this weekend, but I do think with those two in the squad and everybody fit as well, that we're going to see the best out of the other players. Sanchez needs a leader. Romero's not a leader, and Davies is not a leader. So Sanchez falls apart if he doesn't have somebody beside him. We saw it when Yan and Toby weren't in the team as well. The exact same thing happened. He falls apart. He needs somebody to tell him where to be and tell him where to go. Some shouting instructions. I think Romero is even similar to that too. Romero likes to flail a little bit. He likes to, run in and intercept a lot. Whereas Dyer stays at the base, lets Romero do that and do the thing he does. Even Davies, same thing. Davies requires somebody next to him to dictate what's going on. So hopefully we get those players back soon, and that will sort of settle the squad a little bit. But this does go back to sort of the transfer issues of not having a ton of depth in those positions. So we could be in trouble if we do have those players get injured again. So that's it. That's what I wanted to add.
Just to let you know, Brian, on that. Just to let you know on that. Now I've heard on pretty good authority, and I don't know if other people have been hearing it, but Skip's injury is apparently a lot worse than what is being. Don't expect to see Skip anytime soon, is all I can say. When I say anytime soon, I don't mean months and months like end of season. It's not like we expect Dyer is back in training. Skip is not close to being back in full-time training.
I can handle Skip being out because we've got Bentancur in a position where next to Højbjerg can still do the job. It's Dyer probably more for me than anybody, a leader in that back three, because our defense immediately goes to shambles when he wasn't in it. It was blatantly obvious. Oh crap! As soon as he was gone, Tanganga came in. Because Romero was still injured, you had it just hasn't looked solid in any way. And for a period of time, we looked really solid defensively. There was, when Dyer was playing, it was like boom, boom, boom when Conte first came in. But yeah, difficult to see us getting any results without a leader in that back four or back three, back five, depending on what we're doing that day. But that's all I got to say, lads. I wanted to get in there. I've got to go grocery shopping, and I got to do the North End stream at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are still up and you're in the UK and you want to
grocery shopping, then I wish you.
Yeah, thanks, man. If you want to listen to do a little bit of Premier League talk, then tune into the North End at 7:30 Eastern. That's 5-hour difference for you guys if you're in the East Coast, where Jack and I are. It is 7:30 Eastern. But just to tune into that. And also Tottenham on tour. We're doing, Jack, are we doing Thursday or Friday this week?
I think we're doing Fridays still.
Friday this week. We're going to be on this channel again with myself and Brian and Adam and possibly Danny if he's kicking around. And so looking forward to that. So thanks for watching, guys. And thanks for having me. Let me yammer on.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Everybody head on over to Tottenham on tour. We're doing the takeover here on Friday. And head on over to the North End pod stream as well.
Thanks. Cheers.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Wish him also speedy grocery shopping as well. Looks like he's going to have to, get that, hopefully he has a list to work from, because sometimes, you show up without a list, you end up spending twice the time, but we'll wish him luck. Spurs GP says, everyone says we need to play 3-5-2. I'd rather Conte play Bergwijn and Kulu as inverted wingbacks. Better have more attackers and creators on the pitch than defenders. I used to kind of disagree with the Spurs GP, and now I'm starting to really agree with it, just because we're just really lacking so much creativity with the wingbacks, and we're starting to realize that Antonio Conte, he doesn't really need or want a lot of creativity to necessarily come from the midfielders. He really wants it to come from, those wide areas. So if it needs to be then maybe a Bergwijn or Lucas or Kulusevski or whatever out there, I guess we're going to have to maybe test that out. It was originally something I kind of, tossed aside, kind of thought it was kind of crazy. I'm starting to get a bit desperate here. So Spurs GP, I'm kind of with you. Perhaps maybe Bergwijn, Lucas as inverted sort of wingbacks for us could actually give us something, because, we've tried to do Doherty as an inverted wingback. You'd almost rather just do, Bergwijn or something, for that, because he'd offer a lot more. At least, Lucas would, we know. So I'm starting to get a bit convinced on this Spurs GP. Originally wasn't. Now I'm starting to be. But big yourself up, my man. Do really appreciate it.
I want to have a comment on this actually, Jack, because do you know what? Bergwijn, I've always been a fan of, as has Ben from We Are Tottenham and Bob Spur. Now, I think he did an okay job at right back when he was doing it in a defensive capacity for Jose. when he was doing that. But we won't see the benefit of him because he's not a defensive player. He's an attacking-minded player. Now, I reckon in a Conte formation where the like we've been saying, the creativity has to come from down those flanks. I think Bergwijn could absolutely smash that position. I really, really do. Because obviously we've seen now he's hitting a bit of form. When he comes on, he is having an impact. Or even though the goal was offside against Southampton, he's getting into these positions. And for me, when he's on form, he's electric. And the more regularly he plays without picking up an injury. So I reckon playing a fullback, unlike in the Jose where he was told to defend and sit back, going forward, it could be the key that opens the door to a huge success for Bergwijn. So I'm completely in agreement with Spurs GP.
There you go, Spurs GP. Somebody, Brian's a big fan of it, especially for Bergwijn, especially a lot of Bergwijn lovers certainly would like that answer. Be Sing HD, I think, says rebuild should have started in 2017 when we had Champions League football. Now we're struggling to get in top 6. So going to be much harder to sign quality. All I'll tell you, Seeing HD, is that the man beside me here, this is practically in, his, it's from his hymn sheet. It's from his hymn sheet.
And I just have to say, because I don't know if that's Bob's Spur.
It's almost like it's your subconscious, like gave that super chat there.
I don't know if that's Bob's Spur, because I told him to stop doing super chats, but Bobby Sing HD. If that isn't Bob's Spur, thanks for the super chat. If that is Bob's Spur, stop sending super chat.
Yeah, he's seeing through it. And it also seems like it could be because he's singing. He's almost like speaking through your subconscious here. He's singing to the hymn sheet so much. Maybe it could be Bobby, but all I can tell you, Bobby, is you're absolutely whoever it is, Be Sing. It's a spectacular comment, and you're absolutely singing to the hymn sheet. And I don't even know if we could put it much better, because this is the moment. I've said this before with Levy. It's that it's not like we're asking for 100 million every single window. We're asking for him to invest properly and majorly in the squad in the right moments at the right times. And there have been some glaring opportunities and some glaring moments for when he could have really splashed the cash and we'd be in a much different position. But knowing Daniel Levy, he just didn't see it as maybe that time for him. And now look where we are. But Be Sing HD, absolutely quality super chat, absolutely quality comments. And just maybe in case it's Bobby, clearly Brian saw right through it. In case it's Bobby, he saw right through it. Tottenham Tantrum Gold says, Brian, just a massive thank you for all you did on Sunday to make it a special day for me. It was an honor to meet you. Get well soon, David. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. You were the best chaperone in the world, I bet.
Yeah, he came and met me at mine when he landed. It's a lot easier when he lands at Heathrow on the last station on Cockfosters on the Piccadilly line. So I said, listen, rather than going into the ground, come and meet me. And it was just great to spend some time with him. Obviously, Jack, as you know, we get to speak to a lot of people, and it's via this method where it's over a screen or over a Zoom or a StreamYard or whatever, but we don't get to actually see them face to face. Like, I can't wait till the day you're in Toronto or I'm in New York. It's just when you get to meet someone, it was just incredible. It was great to spend that time, not just with Dermot, but all of the Irish contingency that came over. The pre-game and after-game was incredible, and look forward to seeing him again. But thank you, Dermot. It was my pleasure. It was a privilege to meet you as well.
Very, very kind, dear man. All I can say, echo what you said, Brian. It is actually kind of crazy to meet somebody, even though you feel like you already know every single part about them. Just to meet them in the flesh, it is kind of it is a crazy feeling. But Dermot, pick yourself up. Do really appreciate it as well, Dermot. Do really appreciate it. I believe it's Bobby K now. Bobby, if you got your camera on, I can bring you on. We're looking forward to it as well. Here we go, everybody. Bobby K, debut here, and you probably recognize him from the chat lots. Bob, how we doing, my man?
Fantastic, boys. How are you today?
All good, brother. All good. I still can't get over that. Everyone's got to give much love to his kid's FIFA card on the back there. It's absolutely
my legends. As Jack already pointed out, the pace on this one should not be addressed because he's already not happy with me about that.
Physicality, though. The physicality, I must say.
Well, he's a defender and he's 6'1" at 15, so he likes to get in there and give a good push here.
He's like a Zanetti or something like that. He's like a
trying to
Zanetti,
keep him realistic, right?
Yeah. There you go. I like that. Realistic about what their FIFA cards would be. I like that. You're not exaggerating.
You know what? If I give them low ratings, there's only one way to go, right? So improve them.
Right.
Right. If I start,
if you gave them a low rating, and if they had potential, they'd probably be already signed for Spurs at this rate because
No, because Levy doesn't sign players.
No, but he signs the farm. He signs the farm players. He signs the young talents, my man. He signs the young talents.
They are 15 and 11, so they do have a crack right now. 2-3 years from now, they won't have resale value, so that it won't come in.
Kuva even the other day said something about like some left back where it was like, if there were a worse left back in the league than Ben Davies, we would have him.
Oh, most likely. As long as he was free. But first off, I wanted to just say, nice to hear that Bob Spur is getting better, and he's coming around there to us. And also want to wish David there, the Irish Hotspur himself, a good recovery there. I know he's not feeling too well. So, David, I pulled out the flat cap in tribute to you. So hopefully this will help with your ailments there and help you getting better and back on the channel here, because I know Jack's missing you. But guys, we've talked about the team. We've talked about how crap they are. We've talked about ownership. We've talked about how horrible Levy is. One thing I want to get into, if it's okay with you boys, is these rumors regarding the ownership change. Now, I know it's been addressed by a lot of people. Oh, that's not good. So you get me all excited. This ownership change, I know we're all getting excited and hoping that, it might happen. But what scares the hell out of me is if we are being looked at right now for new ownership, it is definitely not because of our on-field product. So what does that tell me then? These people, these investors are coming in looking at the fact that we've got the flashy new stadium. We've got the naming rights that are still up for auction, for lack of better words. We've got the Lady Gaga and the Guns N' Roses concerts and the boxing matches and the NFL, and now this big push to get a Super Bowl over there in the next few years. To have the first Super Bowl played over there in our stadium would just be revenue beyond revenue. And I think that's what our selling points are right now. We are a football club second and a property entity and a business first. And that is why we are failing. It is just absolutely disgusting that we as fans are just being shown these magic tricks of giving a little bit of love and, like I've said before, just enough sugar to keep us shut up basically, and keep guys from going down there with Daigle and supporting him outside the grounds and everything, because we turn around and say, oh no, Levy, look, he bought us Kuleveski and he bought us Bentancur. He bought thanks, Welsh Gal. He bought us these players to just kind of shut us up. And no, these players were not necessary. We had zero need for them. Bentancur, the only reason we had a need for him at all was because we eliminated 3 deadwood players in the middle of our park. We had to get a midfielder in. Otherwise, could you imagine having to rely on Winks every damn game?
Well, and he also didn't even use those 3 players that he got rid of anyways. So he just desperately did need a midfielder, because it felt like Antonio Conte looked like it pained him to even use Dele Alli and Tanguy and Gio at a certain extent.
Well, I know it pained us as fans to see any of them on the field.
Good to see it was mutual between us and the manager, actually, to that degree. Hopefully
we definitely were in agreement there, It's sad, man. Where have we, I was just looking, and I was watching the highlights with my boy, my older boy there, and we were watching the highlights from the October 2017 game where we smashed Liverpool 4-1. We fast forward 4.5 years. Liverpool have won a Champions League and they've won the league. Something they hadn't done in 20 years.
That probably is the sliding doors moment that people reach to, but this is what you got to look at with Liverpool.
This is Liverpool. It's
exactly. I mean, you look at it when you look at it. Liverpool have the most dominant front 3 probably in Europe, or one of the most dominant front 3 in Europe. And then when they realise, right, they're playing all the time, they're getting overplayed. One of them that might need a rest, get an injury. They went and brought Jota to say, right, here we go, we're freshening it up. So one of you can take a rest, or if you get injured. And then January, they go and bring in Dia. They keep buying to support the players. So the players get rotated, the players get the rest they need, and they just strengthen. They keep strengthening. As we all hear, Jelly and Ice Cream is a good friend of mine. Big up to him for being in the chat. But yeah, you always say you strengthen when you're at your strongest. And Liverpool keep doing that. And we keep playing Kane and Son. Liverpool freshen it up and go, do you know what? You think you're that simple and you're guaranteed Firmino, Salah, Mane to start? Well, here we go. We're going to put this in the mix, keep you on your toes. And that's what
Jota. We throw in Diaz now. And They've just got options, whereas our first options are not good enough.
Yeah.
Forget secondary players for these first options. Our first options are crap. And there's not a single person in here that's disagreeing with that. That's one thing. Like, we've got to this is how crazy this has become. There's so much animosity and anger between ourselves, our Spurs family. We're all fighting amongst each other about your opinion and your opinion. No, you're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. But the bottom line is, what's the common denominator? We're all pissed off. And why are we pissed off? Because we have been given nothing to please us. You know what I mean? We've given sprinkles, and it's like, again, going back to your point, that how do you fall from the Champions League final so steeply, basically, straight like a roller coaster, just straight down we've gone since we made to the biggest show that this team has ever had the opportunity to get on. And now here we are talking about Man City game, and we all as a collective unit are just praying that we just don't get too badly battered. There's few of us going in there thinking, we're going to get in there, we're going to give them a game, we're going to get a point at least and everything, but we're not. That's not what we're saying. We're praying that, we've got to set up this formation so we don't get battered too badly. No, we should play 8 in the back and not get too many killed. It's pathetic that exactly. It's pathetic that we are resound to the fact that we're just setting ourselves up to not celebrate getting killed too badly. Yeah. We're basically praying that it's, if a 3-1 won't be too bad, okay. And
I think we'll be debating whether a 3-1 will be too bad. I think that's what imagine that being the talking point. Imagine that being the talking point for a show.
What's our goal difference at the moment? It's plus or minus one.
Minus one in 8th place. It's the lowest it's been. I think it was 18 years or something like that.
There's some point when you got to look at it where goal difference plays a huge part in it, whether it's 6th in Europa or 7th possibly, and Conference League. And this goal difference is a huge thing. I mean, the other teams around us, I think, are obviously way above us on goal difference, which is technically another point.
Doing slightly better goal difference quickly, Brian. It's not the good kind like Wolves is. Wolves has had a really low goal difference, really small one, but that's because at the end of the day they were just keeping goals. They were keeping goals out of the back of the net.
Exactly.
Ours is that we can't keep goals. We have so many goals conceded and not that many goals
scored. Look at those. What was it? 3 games in a row where we lost 3-0. Once it started with that Crystal Palace route.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, the Filth. No, it was 3-1 against the Filth.
3-1. Sorry, 9-1. We got outscored in 3 games.
Chamge on this channel months ago was worried about the goal difference, and we're starting to even see the price of it now. But I mean, sorry, Bobby, I feel like you're on a roll. Regarding the fact that we just don't even have let alone backup players. We don't even have good enough players to even compete with in the first place. But do you feel like we don't exactly need all the money in the world to compete with these teams that are the Chelseas, the Man City? What you were kind of saying about Liverpool is just need an actual organization that runs.
You just need a goddamn scouting network.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack, but that's all we need. I've said this on every show, even with Brian and everything. Our scouting department is so lacking, it's not even funny. The fact that we have bought in these players and the money we've spent on them is disgusting. People are going to sit here and try to preach on for Levy that he spent 100 million on Lo Celso and he brought in Ndombele. But did anybody do the research on Ndombele? Because even just the things I did as a fan, reading articles from French newspapers and everything, they consistently talked about how the president in Lyon himself said he was not a good trainer. He is not very committed. He's very lazy. He's, kind of a part-time player kind of thing. He's just, kind of there to get a paycheck.
-1 there.
And drop the bank on him. Why were we able to get him when we were fighting Barcelona for him? I believe Real Madrid. Who else was in for him? There were some other big clubs. I think Bayern were in him. But everybody all of a sudden stepped away. They jumped the hell out of there. They're like, wait a minute. They found something out. They did their due diligence. Whereas we let Hitchin go, no, it's okay. Here, our record signing, go ahead. We're not even going to play the guy. We don't even want him on our bench anymore. We're going to loan him out 2 years later. Like, it's absolutely disgusting because these guys don't give a shit, man. They don't. It's obvious. But I'm terrified. Sorry.
So I was about to say, sorry, you brought something up about scouting. Now I'm going to address this now about the Diaz to Liverpool deal. Everyone going, oh, he wanted Liverpool. He was always going to choose Liverpool. He's always going to choose Liverpool. So basically, what's actually happened here, and Terry Fleurs from Football Terrace did a great piece on it. If you look at it, Liverpool wanted him summer just gone. The price that they wanted was 30 million more than what we got it down to. So it's like, we showed our intent. Yes, that Levy was apparently furious that it got out, but we did all the haggling for Liverpool to get it down to where they wanted. And as soon as it got down to that level where they're like, right, that's what we want, they just came out of the dark like a predator in the jungle trying to get his prey and go, thank you very much, Tottenham. That's the price we wanted to pay.
You did our work for us. You did the dirty work. We'll finish off from here.
Exactly. And people say, oh, he's always going to choose Liverpool. Well, the thing that I want to see, all right, if you chose Liverpool, you chose Liverpool. But make a bid, an official bid, where it says Tottenham, Porto, or whatever team
rumors.
have accepted a bid. The player is now talking to Spurs. Because I guarantee you, and I'm not saying he'd sign, but if we've got permission to speak to him or Vlahovic, and they come over and they see Conte, and they come over and see the wonderful stadium and the training facilities, and they're like, right, let's have a chat. Conte may have enough clout to say, do you know what? This is what you're going to be playing, and you're going to be playing regularly, like a first teamer every single week. Not in Liverpool where you could be on the bench for a few games, then have a few games here. What I want to see Tottenham do is make these bids, and not just these token 30 million below and go into a 2-week wrangle. Make the bid so the player is the Sky Sports News or any media outlet goes, Spurs have fee agreed, Porto says guy, or ex-player team.
The player doesn't agree to terms or something.
And then if the player says he doesn't agree to terms, then do you know what? Fair play. He didn't want to play for us. Then we don't want him. But at least let's have the opportunity to hear that we've had a bid accepted. The players come and spoken to Conte, seen what we have to offer, and then said no. Rather than doing this haggling and getting the price lower, and then the big dog goes, thank you very much, Tottenham Hotspur. We'll take it from here. Bang, there's all the money. Off you go.
Yep.
This is the big problem.
It's maddening. It's beyond maddening. And that's what scares me about this proposed ownership change, going back to that now, because that's actually what I wanted to talk about. With the proposed ownership change, now basing it on the facts that I pointed out, that if they're looking to come in here and use this just basically solely as an investment, you know, whatever company comes in, especially the Americans, knowing that the NFL is going to be here. This is a concert stadium. It's going to have other venues. We're going to rent it out for weddings to rich people. And, you know, it's going to be just all this money is going to be generated outside of football. Because like I've spoken to you before, Tottenham have been around so long that they've got generational fans. They've got parents like me that have stupidly made their children Spurs fans as well, that will continue to support the club. You know, and like your father does, Brian. You know, Jack. Yeah. I'm not too sure how you became a fan, but you know, for me, it's my older cousin that pushed me into this kind of thing, and I'm glad he did, because I love being an underdog. Cheers, Derek. I like favoring the underdogs kind of thing, but it's gotten to the point where I've been supporting them close to, it'll be 30 years this year, and we've been consistently the underdog, and it's like, wow, you can only take so many punches in the face being an underdog before you finally just drop to the mat. And I'm scared that myself and a lot of fans are getting to the point where we're going to be on the mat soon. Now, I can never give these guys up, because unfortunately I foolishly, like Brian, have a Tottenham tattoo on my body. So, you know,
I don't have a Tottenham tattoo. I have a We Are Tottenham TV tattoo.
Oh, okay. See, I went a bit more foolish than you did.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But then again, like going back to what that gentleman was speaking about earlier, about how, Brian, why are you at the games then? And da. You don't support Levy. You're not going there with a I love Levy T-shirt and Enoch, you know, big blue heart for Enoch. You're going there to support your club. You're going there to support your team. You're going there to cheer on the lads.
The club lives longer than Levy does.
I'm sorry, Jack?
The club lives longer than Levy does at the end of the day, Bobby. And
you know, evil doesn't die, Jack. I don't know about that one. Levy's gonna be around a long
Evil's harder to kill. Evil is harder to kill.
Well, every time somebody passes, we talk about what a great person they are. We don't talk about, wow, what an evil bastard. Thank God he's gone. Levy is going to live to be 237. Mark my words right now.
He's Montgomery Burns.
If anybody
exactly. And he looks like the bastard. You know, I don't want to hate on too much on Levy as well, because I want to hate more on our scouting department, because if these people have come in and not done your job, well, why haven't you been fired? Now, Hitchin finally just left, but on his own accord, apparently. He resigned. We thought that we were under the assumption or led to believe that he was fired. He did not. He walked away. So something happened where Paratici finally put his foot down and said, look, you don't know shit. Look what we've done the last few years. You fucked it up. I know what I'm doing. I'm coming in here. But now,
I think enough espresso deliveries over to Paratici, finally, gave in to him.
But I think Paratici might be a bit of a fraud too here, Jack. I'm scared to say, because at the end of the day, what business have we done with him? All he did is help out his old employers. Let's take 2 fringe players off you while I give you the money so you can go get Vlahovic, who already scored for you there.
I think that's looking at it a bit harshly, but
I'm kind of scared not to look at it that way, because I just there's just so much going on outside of football, Jack. I just want to get back to loving football, loving my team, supporting my team, seeing these conversations be about how players played. Let's talking about this. Let's talk about how great they are. Let's talk about what philanthropy they're doing. Let's talk about, anything maybe they're doing for their mental well-being. Like, I know that Sessegnon had a rough time. He admitted it in the press. When he came over, he had a big hard time adjusting and everything. And he went and got himself counseling. He got himself a therapist and everything like that to help with that. So, these are things that I think we as fans should be really concentrating on: the mental well-being of our players, the upbringing of our players, the supporting our players. I don't doubt, like, we're going to sit here and say, well, these guys are, paid so well to do their job, and I get paid to do my job, and I have to do it. Yeah, but at the end of the day, when you as a player trying to do your job in a system that is not working for your players, we're being forced to play players where they don't play. And that's a big issue right now, too. This 3-4-3 failed formation thing, I don't know why Conte keeps pushing it. It's got to be questioned. We don't have the players for it. We don't have the players to play 3-5-2. We don't have the players to play 4-4-2. Fuck, we don't have the players to play, 4-on-4 football right now. We maybe 4-on-4 at best. But if we want to sit here and pretend that we're up there with the big boys, we've done that on the financial side. We've got the big flashy stadium. We've got the fans across the world now. We've got money coming in from Europe, Asia, Canada, US, everything. But, where is the investment back in the product to give us back then? And I know that's what Brian was going to earlier when that guy was questioning, why are you going there still? Well, they have the money. You're saying, how are they going to have the money when we, if we don't go and support them? But they've already got the money. They've been fleecing us for 21 years for this money. They've got it. And all these extra money that's come in, where is it being put into? That's all we're asking as fans. I just want to know if you're saying who friggin' sorry, what's this? Coming finds first just he holds the strings. Yes, it is, man. This is what I'm saying. It's Levy that's got the final push on the button, and he is the cancer. And like Daigle, you've been preaching on about it, Levy out and everything like that. We as a fan base have to unite and see that the true problem is at the top of the food chain. Five managers, most of this club has seen over the last little while. Like, when are we going to point the finger a little bit higher? We can't just keep blaming these world-class managers that we've brought in that have failed, because are you saying then that these guys have failed afterwards, but after Pochettino, that Pochettino was that amazing?
No, we just have to look at
fill his shoes?
Got to look at the common denominators, Bobby. You have to look at the same ownership, and you have to look at the same set of players that continue to exist here. But Brian,
what it is, Jack? Just quickly, you're no better than me. And I've said this as well. When it came to Paratici's being recruited, when you have a football model under Levy, which is buy cheap, identify young talent, turn them into world superstars, sell them for a much, 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 much higher. To me, that all day long spells Luis Campos. All day long, that is what he does. That is exactly, if you looked up in the dictionary and wanted to find a director of football that literally is tailor-made for that position, it's Luis Campos. Paratici is a director of football that, yes, he has lots of contacts. Yes, he is very well and highly regarded, but he brokers deals like Ronaldo and huge talents on huge wages and entices them to a club like Juventus. And I think if you wanted to get that, and if that was the business model you wanted to go down, at least hire a director of football
but support
that marries that marries the product you're trying to
that
facilitate.
meets what Levy wants to do. Even if what Levy wants to do is not what we want, at least freaking hire a director of football that actually will do well what he wants to employ. You're absolutely spot on, Bobby. Any maybe final talking points or kind of things you maybe want to get off your chest or kind of discuss here?
I honestly just want to get my club back to playing football. I want to get back these conversations to saying that how much we love our Spurs, what we talked about. Let's talk about game tactics. Let's talk about what's happening in there. Let's not, the trickle down effect from the poisonous ownership has gotten to us now. It's gotten to fans, even in the comments and stuff, we're questioning each other's motives. We're questioning each other's opinions and stuff. Are we not entitled to have our own opinion? Or, that's the beauty of the channels that you guys are doing and the collaborations you're doing. You guys are all working with each other. You got 3 different channels basically represented right now with Tottenham on tour, Flat Cap, and the Irish Hotspur. And you know what? You guys all work seamlessly together as it should be, because we are a community, we are a family. Unfortunately, this family is going through a miserable spell right now. We need to basically unite and just pray that something happens. But the only way anything really is going to happen is not going to be for 5 months. We're going to have to pull up our socks and put a box of Kleenex beside us at every game and a Bible for those who pray. I'll get a Bible. I'm not religious, but I'll get a Bible and pray to the football gods that we get any kind of result at this point, because we just have been let down. And I know we're sitting here going backwards to over a month ago with what should have happened in the window and how we left it late, like we always do, that we're not bringing in the quality. We recognize where we need to fill the gaps, but we don't do it. So
yeah. I think you also spoke to something just quickly earlier, that you said you're tired of Spurs being an underdog. I think you could even take it further, where you're tired of, I think I'm tired of Spurs probably being, especially in your case where you've been a fan so long, tired of Spurs being a sleeping giant.
It's what?
Not even an underdog, a sleeping giant, because an underdog is a team that, has a ceiling. Whereas with Spurs, you would say like the ceiling that we have, like we are like at the bottom basement compared to what we know our ceiling should be.
Oh, you know what? That's a great way to put it, Jack. And you're right. I guess I'm more of a dreamer here and hoping, like you said, that the sleeping giant will finally come and he finally will wake up. But unfortunately, the sleeping giant's been giving sleeping pills by a guy named Daniel Levy.
Bobby, I do love you, brother. I do love you.
Well said.
You're getting a lot of love from the comments as well, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thanks. I saw Irish's comment there. So I know that you're in here, David, again for you. But I hope you feel better, man. And again, wishing Bob Spur all the best too. And I'm a rookie, brother. You're the legend. I'm still in rookie phases. Still get a little trembles before I get on these things here. Got some nerves here still to work on. But I know you guys got people waiting and stuff like that. I appreciate the time, guys, as always, and keep up the great work. Let's just unite as a fan base. Let's just get something going here that we can be proud of again. You know what I mean? Like I said on the last show, I'm just fed up of people that support friggin' Wycombe Wanderers and Bolton Wanderers and AFC Wimbledon are able to make fun of me right now. It's just like, you know what? And I can't say shit back. I can't say shit back. I just, please, Tottenham, give me the opportunity and the ability to talk shit back to these people. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the comments. Thank you very, very much. I wish you all the best. I love my Spurs family. And
you got a big up from the Diamond. From the Diamond, Sue Smith. You got
the best approval. Best approval.
She's my Diamond. She's my Diamond.
Very much. I appreciate it. But guys, I really truly appreciate the time and letting give me the few minutes to get this nonsense out of my head and everything. And I appreciate the feedback and everything. It's always I love watching you guys, and I really enjoy the fact that you guys open everything up to your fans and the viewers, and it is a Spurs community that has the ability to kind of all put their 2 cents in, regardless of how we feel each other. We accept each other's opinions, and that's what we should do. Guys, let's stop this arguing amongst each other. Let's just maybe unite in prayer or something, or hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I don't know what's going to work at this point, but we're going to have to suck it up for 5 more months, and let's just let's just pray for better times, and come on, you Spurs, and let's get that draw at least this weekend. I'm hoping.
Big up, Bobby. Big up, Bobby.
I will
Class
tomorrow,
call, my
brother.
man.
I appreciate your time,
tomorrow.
guys. All right, sounds good. Have a great night, guys. Take care.
Well
Thank
done,
See you later,
Bobby.
brother.
See you soon, my man.
Bye.
Class call. Class call.
What
Come on, you
a
Spurs.
debut from my brother. What a debut.
What a debut. I would say a lot of people have put in some class debuts recently, and Bobby's, definitely continuing that trend. And I would say it's not easy. It's really not easy,
No.
especially, I will say first ever time I ever went on, any sort of fan cam, I felt, way too nervous. And Bobby certainly was absolutely smashing it, showing us how it's done. But good to have you on, Bobby, as well. Hopefully to see you for more. And to Bottom Duda says, Newcastle is going to be scary next season. It is really important to spend and spend big. My biggest concern here, Brian, as well as the Bottom Duda here, is Newcastle, eventually they're going to start competing with us for the same kind of set of players. They're going to start, looking at the same caliber of players that Levy sort of does, that, Spurs do. And the problem is that they don't really care about overspending. And that's what I'm worried about. And when they, hence maybe that Bruno Guimaraes sort of deal, that guy that I thought would be an absolute steal for us, Newcastle just went up and swooped him up, kind of like a big shark, through the water. So I don't know. What do you say, Brian? Like, are you a bit worried maybe Newcastle will go after the same sort of players as us?
So I heard someone, I can't remember, it was a Newcastle fan was talking, and do you know what? I took a step back and analysed what he was saying, and he's bang on the money. What he said is, do you know what you got to think about in Newcastle is don't worry about the first wave of players we're bringing in. Worry about the second, because the first one, what they're doing, they brought Eddie Howe in, and they're starting to buy players, and this is solely to get them away from relegation. That's the first part of the Newcastle's kind of, let's get away from relegation this season, and let's make sure we're never there again. So their aim is to get upper half of mid-table and to the top of the bottom half, maybe even a top 10 finish. Not this season, but I mean, that's Newcastle's next kind of meeting point. So they're never in a relegation struggle again. Then they'll come, this is Eddie Howe, you've taken us as far as you can go. We need a manager that can get us to the top 6, and so on and so on. And then when that manager comes in, that's when you're like, right, we've got the manager to get us to that level. We're now going to spend money on players to get. So the first wave that come in, like people you just said, like Bruno, who looks like a real star or has the potential to be one, he's not too concerned. But right now, their sole focus is to not go from there to Champions League. It's to build, to get away, so they're not in a relegation struggle. And then once they've done that, they'll go, right, now it's time to go to phase 2 or whatever they want to call it. And that's when the next big manager will come in. And that's when the checkbook, and they are going to, if there's any players we go for and we don't move quickly to just go, right, here's the money, go, and Newcastle are in, they'll just simply outbid us and offer more wages. And it goes, and Newcastle will become a very, very attractive proposition to a lot of people. And it's very worrying.
It is. It's extremely worrying. And my biggest worry is, Brian, is just the fact that, they just have, I know they won't be spending big like some people are saying, but at the end of the day, if they think that's the player that will actually, guarantee them, that step that they need, they'll pay whatever it takes. Where we just won't, because we've been in that situation where we desperately need a number 10 to come in here and fix this team under previous managers. And we just, haven't paid up, the money, or even looked at the right sort of players, like maybe Bobby was saying earlier when it comes to scouting. A lot of really, a lot of points there to be made to Bottom Duda. Hopefully you enjoyed that answer. Really do appreciate the continued support, the continued generosity, my man, that you've shown here. But big yourself up to Bottom Duda. Do really appreciate it. Brian, I am going to do a bit of a quick plug, so I do kind of have to take you away. Then I'll bring you back on.
Take me away.
And then I'll bring on Dermot really quickly for the next one. But everybody, we are going to do, as always, that bit of that plug over for Manscaped, everybody. Manscaped, they are very kind enough to be sponsoring this episode of the Irish Hotspur. So I just need to get everything situated here. But just quickly. Okay. And then here we are, everybody. So everybody, as always, Manscaped, they do sponsor all of the fan shows of the Irish Hotspur. They do offer 20% this month. And as always, using the code FLATCAP, it does really help David and I. It does really go a long way with the Irish Hotspur. I must say, it does really help us but as well, it also is a great way to help yourself, especially this February, where I know Valentine's Day did just pass, but you can still get that 20%. And I believe even somebody from the Flat Cap Army, somebody that was even a friend of mine that used the code the other day, said that there's some deal going on where I think he got even like 60% off over at Manscaped. So if you ever were kind of thinking maybe, you don't want to fork over the money, I would say now is probably the best time to do so. So certainly head on over to manscaped.com and use that code FLATCAP and probably get some other deals as well on top and get probably nearly half off. Definitely get, I would say, the full performance package where you do get the Lawnmower 4.0, comes with that spotlight, comes with everything, no nicks, no bruises, basically just makes it extremely easy when it comes to, taking care of yourself down under, as well as the cologne, which I do actually use. Wasn't even a big cologne person until I did get the cologne from them. I would say just getting the full performance package, you do get the boxers, which I would say, as I've said to David before, already my favorite pair of boxers. Kind of like Bentancur, already kind of my favorite midfielder in the entire Spurs 11. The boxers, I would say, are quite similar. But everybody, lots of things you can get over at Manscaped. Use the code FLATCAP, as it says down there, over at manscaped.com. Really do appreciate it. Do appreciate Manscaped for allowing David and I to use some of their products, for them to be generous enough to give us some of their products. And we do really appreciate everybody that's already used the code before at shopping over at Manscaped. But that'll be all for now. And thank you very much, Manscaped, for plugging this episode of the Irish Hot Spade. We're now going to go straight back into the fan show. Everybody going to now take this off and bring Brian back in here. And Dermot, if you're in there, I'm going to bring you back in, Dermot. So I believe I think he's not feeling well, everybody. So I do believe he's just going to go camera off. But Dermot,
just before you introduce him and get him talking, I'm just going to very quickly go to the bathroom and I'll be right back. If you give me 2 minutes, I'll be back with you guys. Hello, Dermot, brother.
Hiya, brother. How are you?
That's
the first time that's ever happened to me, Jack. I must have sent somebody to the loo.
How are we keeping? No problem, Dermot. How are we keeping, though, apart from maybe the sickness that, we're going to hopefully see you maybe by tomorrow? How are we keeping otherwise?
Yeah, keeping all right. Just so disillusioned. I'm 41 years and I'm just disillusioned. I'm usually quite upbeat. I am, Jack, and for Tottenham, and I'll say we do this and the cock will arise. And oh, Lord Jesus. I mean, I was there Sunday. Big up to Ben Kaufman if he's watching. I was a guest of his on Sunday. Absolutely met his father and his uncle. Lovely, lovely people. So big up. Yeah, and I did Moondog. I just seen in the message I got your email. It was just dreadful. We're so weak on the right side, Jack. Mm-hmm. It's like I don't know what to say or what to do. There's no point shouting or roaring about it because that's not going to help, and there's no point crying over it either because what's that going to achieve? Mm-hmm. We're just shit, pure and simple.
Do you feel like, though, I mean, I was under the illusion at one stage, though, Dermot, that we did have players that could actually help us, players that were maybe turning things around. I was under this assumption that maybe Sanchez, maybe he won't be Bambi on ice for the rest of the season. Maybe Harry Winks is, Conte's teacher's pet that will play well. I just was feeling like maybe I was under some sort of illusion that these players could actually, play well for the rest of the season. Was I really that deluded, or maybe were you kind of in a similar boat as I was?
Well, I knew Winks was never going to play well because he can't play football at all. I mean, you got Bobo the Clown on at right back. Doherty, that's his new nickname now. You've got Bambi on ice, who's Chamge, and I did shout that out when Doherty had the ball. As much as he's an Irish player and he plays for us, he plays shit for us anyway. I actually shouted out, Bobo the Clown past the fecking ball. And it was just like, he would go forward, but he wouldn't track back. And I actually watched it for 10 minutes, the right side of our defence. We were absolutely dreadful. The only credit I would give on Sunday is to the fans. They were absolutely fantastic.
So, do you know what? Do you know say I want to bring up with you, and I've been meaning to talk to you about this properly now. Yeah. Taken away from the game, obviously, we know Sunday was a big trip with the Irish contingency, and we had a wicked pre-game and everything. Yeah. you remember, like I said to you, like, well, it was your first time in the stadium. No matter how I feel about the ownership, that stadium is an architectural masterclass. It's a masterpiece. And remember, I said to you, when you're going up to the stands, don't look in any of the gangways. Don't look. Just wait till you get to your stairs. Walk head down up the stairs, and then look when you get to the top. Tell us about that moment when you got and you saw the stadium for the first time.
I actually did that, Brian. I videoed it. I
saw the video.
Down. Yeah, I videoed, and the words came out of my mouth was, "Is it right to swear now?" Oh yeah, 2 hours into that.
Yeah,
I went, "Fucking hell!" That was the first one. It was like my jaw hit the ground. It was like, wow. I can't describe it. It's a beautifully designed stadium. It really is. It should be. That place is home to the champion, to Tottenham being champions, winning big trophies. When the atmosphere isn't there yet, but that will come. That will come in time. But wow, what a stadium! It's unreal, Brian.
Well, I'll tell you what as well, Dave. Let's talk about the positives and everything for a minute. It was the first time that I've been to a game where I wasn't in the south stand. So every single time I've gone with Ben and Simeon or one of the two, I've always been in the south stand. But it's when you're not sitting in the south stand that you see just how steep and how incredible that thing is. Yeah, it's all well and good being in it, and it's incredible to see this one-tier stand. But looking at it from a different part of the ground, it's just unbelievable.
I mean, I was in the east stand, upper east stand. I mean, the view I had I've never had a view like it. I mean, you remember White Lane. If you sat in the wrong place at White Lane, I think I said to you, you would get something. You get a post would be in your way, and you're either knocking your head one way or the other just to look round the post at the old east stand. It was just unreal. It really was. I mean, the players have a brilliant stadium to play in, the best stadium in the world. They really do. And I feel sorry for every fan there. I mean, I was talking to a fan that came from Norway. And there was a fan behind me, I think I was talking to. Ben was in the bathroom. I got talking to him, come all the way from America.
Yep.
And I felt so sorry for them. But no, Brian, that stadium, you told me it my mouth would drop, and it did drop. It went, wow.
It's all geared up, like Bobby was saying before when Bobby K was on, about how the ownership and that you look at it, and I know what Bobby's saying, but with it, you look at it and you say, do you know what? If an owner takes this over and spends 3.2 billion or whatever the asking price is, the training ground is taken care of. You don't need to invest.
No.
The pitch is taken care of. You don't need to, or the stadium, you don't need to invest in infrastructure. None of the infrastructure, none needs to be invested in.
No.
The naming rights and on the pitch, because the naming rights, the NFL, the concerts, all the heavy work has been done. It just needs someone to seriously come in and say, you see that bit of grass in the middle of that stadium? This is the thing that I care about. This is the thing I want to invest on, because everything else is there. Everything.
Yeah. We've lost our soul. We've lost who we are. We're not Tottenham Hotspur Football Club anymore. We're Tottenham Hotspur Financial. Come and have your day out at Tottenham Stadium. That's what we are. Nobody's doing the naming rights. That's a disgrace to begin with. The bigger disgrace is we haven't invested in the team. We played like we were in a relegation battle. And we will not qualify for Europe this season. If we play like that, we'd be lucky to finish top 10.
Yeah.
Because none of them players care.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit. They don't care about the badge. They don't care about the fans. They care about themselves. And we expect more as fans. Especially I've 42 years I've been following Tottenham now. Brian's been following them near enough the same as me. We've seen them win trophies. I feel dreadful for you, Jack, and the younger fans,
That's funny. I always find that ridiculous that you say that, Dermot. No
yeah,
offense.
But
I find that ridiculous.
For you.
I think you've gone through more pain because you've seen actually with your own eyes what the club could be. That's what I've spoken about before with Bobby with the whole sleeping giant sort of thing. Like all I'm told is that we are a sleeping giant, but my whole life we've been the underdog that he was talking about. So I actually found that funny when he said underdog, because I was thinking someone who's been a fan that long would know that we're more of a sleeping giant than we are really an underdog. But for me, my whole life as a Spurs fan has really been more an underdog than really a sleeping giant, to be honest.
We're not a sleeping giant. We're like a dead dinosaur. That you know, Tottenham was made.
That's like double dead because it's extinct as well. So you know.
I mean, Levy's like the asteroid that knocked out the dinosaurs. I mean, Tottenham was made, and as soon as Sugar sold it to Levy, a big asteroid come and just went straight in the middle of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I mean, it's just we've never been the same since that man took over. The club died that day, and I mean, and for people in the chat, I've really got to say this, and it's really pissed me off tonight. People in the chat that think that man next to Jack, and some of the things I've seen, you can all feck off, because that man has done more for us fans with the Levy out. He's come over from Canada to spend time with his best friend in hospital. And big up Bob Spare if you're watching. I'm over the moon that you're getting better, mate, and you're always in my thoughts. He's looked after Kim. He's looked after his nieces and nephews. He speaks to his lovely wife in Canada. I know he can't wait to go back home there, and I'm delighted for you that you are. But that man has made so many sacrifices for us fans. That the people that can't go there, and for the people that in the chat that say to him, "Oh, you're talking bullshit again, Brian. Oh, you spend money." I was with that man Sunday. He wouldn't. I went into the club shop to have a look at it. He wouldn't even walk in there with me. He stayed on the other side of the road. So you lot who are in this thing that slag Brian off, you can feck off.
Brian,
that man does not deserve anything but credit, thankfulness from us all.
Beautifully put,
and credit, because that man is an inspiration, not just to me, but to every Spurs fan around that couldn't make it. He was there for us.
Beautifully put, Dermot.
Do you know what it is, mate? First of all, thank you so much for saying that. Now, I've learned something now. Obviously, I'm going to mention it because I saw him in the chat before, so I hope he's still there. People would have seen me on this channel around transfer deadline day when Kulusevski and Bentancur was named. And I suffer with anger management. I've done a lot on that mental health show that I did a few weeks ago. And the grief I was getting was just uncalled for. And there was a guy called Adrian, I can never pronounce his surname right, Strocker, but I snapped at him and I went absolutely batshit crazy and got very, very abusive and very, very, which is not me. It was the old me, the alcoholic and cocaine addict and mental health issues. And I was so sorry for my outburst that I apologized immediately after. And then I went onto Facebook and messaged him for 30 minutes saying, listen, that doesn't excuse my behavior. I'm so ashamed of what I did. I apologize. I learned, Joe, if there's anything I've learned from Robbie on Arsenal Fan TV, not so, you know, I mean, obviously he gets, the grief I get is small fry compared to what he gets. Kind of realized, I listened to him say something recently. It was like when he was getting trolled and grief, he was like, do you know what? Don't worry about the few that troll you and try to get a rise out of you, which I rise to the other day at the wrong person. I should have rised at Adrian. Think about the other people that say nice things about you, stick by you. I mean, I must admit, I mean, the comments I get, I can see them in here right now from a lot of people. So you know how much I love and appreciate you all. And people that have met me have known what you see is what you get with me. I'm exactly the same as what you see on camera. I have people from South Africa, Norway, Greece, Australia, Malaysia saying, Brian, thank you so much. We can't get there. We stand behind you. We do. And yeah, they can't get to the protest, or some people in the country that can't get to the protest, whether it's because they don't want to, but they feel that way, or they just live or work with it. And I get that. So and I know one of them in there, a guy called Neo1972, just stalks me everywhere and just whatever. I can't be bothered. I'm so humbled and appreciative of all the kind wishes and support. And I'll keep mentioning the person. Everyone will know on this channel. Whenever I see a certain person's name, I go like that because Sue Smith is a diamond. I have never ever met this woman. I have never ever spoken to her on the phone. Never ever exchanged it. Nothing. But everywhere I've been from the very very start, that woman is always there, and and there's more people like that. But Sue is the one that from when I first came onto YouTube. So I always do that with Sue Smith, and that's what I enjoy. You know what? These people, you got to learn when we start doing what we do, whether it's me, you, Jack, or Dermot. When you start, and let's face it, during that Leave You Out campaign, I got a lot of attention, both on social media, on YouTube, the fact that goes to the papers, and you're going to attract attention where you get people that are going to hate. Look at Premiership footballers or actors or news people that get in the news. They're so quick to bang, 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 bang. And I realised after the mental health show and after the Leave You Out protest, which didn't go the exact way I wanted, I was like, do you know what? I'm here, and it's people like the great things that you just said, Dermot, that mean the world to me compared to what a few little idiots say.
Incredibly said, Dermot, and incredibly put, and really, 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 honestly, so beautifully put. I think it should be clipped just so that Brian can, maybe put it on Tottenham on tour or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll try to figure that out. But beautifully put, Dermot.
I've got a funny story to tell, and then I've got 2 more points, if that's okay, Jack, and then I'll leave you two alone. Brian, walking up. Now, everyone's heard about what happened me going to the Beehive, and Brian knows where I'm going with this.
Yep.
Right. So Brian was talking. I have a problem with my breathing, so Brian is a very fast walker, bless him. And I thought, well, I can keep up with Brian. Well, that was a mistake straight off because nobody can keep up with Brian, right? So he had to stop a few times for me and take my inhalers and really just catch my breath. I was so glad to get to the Beehive and just sit down just for half an hour. We were walking back to the stadium. It's downhill going back the high road. And Brian will tell you this. Go on, Brian. I'll let you tell the rest of the story because it is.
So, wait a minute. Are you talking about the part to the Beehive? Yeah, the Beehive. This guy had to stop about 50, or not 15. That's an exaggeration. 3 or 4 times because I do walk exceedingly fast. We got to the Beehive, and then we had the Beehive, and then I have a match tradition where I go get a burger from one of my mates that've got a burger stand who's part of the league. And we started walking back there because we were going to meet Ben from We Are Tottenham TV at the goal line bar in the stadium. So we all started walking off, and now I had to walk slowly to the ground. I don't know what the hell happened. Every single time, because we walked so slowly, I was like, where the hell is Dermot? And Sean Butler, who I can see is in the chat, and thank you very much for your comment, brother. I love you too. He was like, he's all the way down there. He was like, literally, this guy was like Usain Bolt on ecstasy. A minute ago, he could hardly walk, but somehow he starts walking faster than anything. I think it was the thought of a burger, Dermot.
It was actually, because I was so bloody hungry. I hadn't eaten that day, and Brian said there's a burger, and all I could see was burger vans. Right, I'm going for a burger. It was downhill, and I was walking with Philip Brady, I think, and he was walking nice and slowly. So it was just, and seeing the stadium, and all I could think was Spurs. Gonna watch Tottenham. I was just so excited, and got to meet Ben off We Are Tottenham TV. So met everyone I met that day. Brad, Ellie, everyone. Too many people I can't name, but it was an amazing day meeting them all. It really was. Jack, you're going to have a blast when you go over that. You really will. Just very quickly, 2 points. Do you want to take the super chat, Jack?
Well, Dermot, that's what I was saying. There's no rush, my man. There's no rush. And I was going to say, if you want to take this with me from Moondog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
When have we ever made a quick transfer, Dermot? I mean, it's that whole feeling that Spurs, they never. Here's the thing. There are not a lot of clubs. I'll be honest here. There are not a lot of clubs that do, but there are clubs that. There are some clubs that do, act quickly and act smoothly and do everything ahead of time. Bayern, coming to mind. Bayern, it feels like every single time the transfer window starts, it feels like 3 are already through the door and they gotten everything out. And then they just, and there's some other clubs as well that do their business nice and early, kind of do everything ahead of time, it feels like. But Dermot, do you feel like Spurs are a club that probably should be doing that maybe more than other clubs is maybe the way I should put it here to Moondog Super Chat?
We should. But we won't because Levy doesn't want to do any business until he panics, until he sees the fans start shouting all like Brian or like we were on Tottenham's Gold saying Levy out constantly. Brian with the protests. He probably looked out the Hotspur way and thought, oh, feck. Brian's out there. I better do something. And it's like, again, lastminute.com. These should be done at the beginning, before the transfer window starts. You can get a transfer done within a couple of days. It can be done. If you pay the club what they want, the club will accept it. And you give the player what it's done. It can be done. But Levy won't do it because he's a tight bastard.
Yep.
That man would not spend money even getting a hair transplant if he had to. That's why he's bald, because he's so tight he won't even buy himself a wig.
What you do have to remember when it comes to quick transfers very quickly is if you look at the Jose Mourinho era, Matt Doherty came out the window like no one even had a clue. It was like, okay, there you go. Gareth Bale, Ali Gold did the famous video where he said, I'm not talking about Bale because there's no rumours. He went and had a shave and goes, guess what? Typical Tottenham, I'll go up, have a shave, Tottenham are getting Bale. Tottenham did move quickly during Mourinho's era for some reason. And I personally think Mourinho must have said, listen, I know Levy might have said, listen, we haven't got that much money. This is your budget. And I think Mourinho must have said, listen, if that's my budget, when I identify a player, you go and get him, no questions asked, none of this normal. Because Doherty happened very, very quickly.
It did.
Bale got done. I think the video that Alistair Goldie was on the Tuesday and on a Saturday he had signed. That never happens with like a big name player for us. It never. So we moved quickly, incorrectly for the players, bear in mind. But I think under the Mourinho era was the only time we realistically moved with any pace or speed. But it was, again, the wrong players.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's as Bobby K. I mean, that man's a diamond. That man is absolute sport. More sense in his little segment I've heard in a long while. Our scout department is atrocious. I mean, it really is. I mean, we couldn't.
It's being completely uprooted, though, which is something that we should be happy about because they fired practically the entire scouting department. They even they are in the process of basically bringing in a new one. I heard about that months ago about them, like kind of revamping it to something. And they've gotten rid of Steve Hitchens. So perhaps this is some sort of acknowledgement, that things just weren't going well, which is, I don't know, maybe this is just me, again, maybe the younger Spurs fan just saying, maybe that's all, you can hope for at the end of the day is maybe them acknowledging that they did something wrong, for once.
It is. People talk, you need to spend money on the right players, but you need to spend money on the right scouts.
Yeah.
If you pay what you get, basically. You pay for what you get. It's like going.
If we don't want to spend extraordinarily on big players as well, you have to have a good scouting department because then that gives, probably allows us as fans maybe not to probably, complain, so much because then we'd be bringing in all these players that, would feel like absolute diamonds, in the rough and be like, wow, how do Spurs keep finding all these players, for absolute cheap and for, for nothing. And Levy would then all of a sudden look good. It'd feel like a win-win scenario, but I don't know with Levy. I guess he just felt like he didn't want to fire Steve Hitchen, didn't want to get rid of that scouting department. He felt just maybe too hesitant to actually, make any change in that area, I guess, until now. Or maybe it's really Paratici that's been doing it, maybe to an extent as well.
Yeah, I mean the on Paratici, it's still out on me. I still have not convinced by him yet. I want to see what he does in the summer.
Brian, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, just to add on top of that, I mean, if you look at it, you look at that scouting network, and you look at the end of season message that he said that we spent 250 million, £250 million wrongly. I don't care who you are. If you were chairman of a business, whether it be ENIC, head of acquisitions, or Pepsi, or any other huge company, and your recruitment team had wasted £250 million on something, if that had been £250 of ENIC's money for expenditure on other businesses, that team get fired immediately. Like you've just lost off $250 million. Out you go. There is no accountability. Boom, off you go. There is no way in any other business, in any walk of life, where You sit down and have a meeting and go, well, we spent £250 million incorrectly. They go, here you go, crack on, and we'll try again next summer. You're gone.
Yeah,
you're gone.
Right.
And the fact that it just keeps repeating itself because we're spending the cheaper options. And yes, in Dembele, people say 60 million, but that 60 million could have been spent a lot better.
Well, that connects back to the scouting department, because the scouting department simply isn't good enough. So it's actually a perpetual cycle of Levy not wanting to spend enough, but then also the scouting department being already terrible as it is when he actually is going to spend the money on whatever fee that he feels like he's okay with. So it just ends up being, no matter what, you're not going to probably there's a high chance you're not going to get a good player no matter what, because the scouting department doesn't know what they're doing, and Levy's going to settle for the cheaper option. So it's a double negative to a degree. Dermot, I wanted you on here as well with Moondog saying Sanchez would be wearing big boots, or should be wearing big boots and a red nose. I've said this before, Dermot. The past few goals, versus Southampton, versus Chelsea, versus Wolves, just sometimes it feels like clowns back there.
It reminds me of Bambi. That's my nickname for him. He's like Bambi on ice. He's on a bit of ice and his legs all over the place. I mean, I said to you, I think a while ago, Jack, they need to put Romero on that right side. Drop Sanchez completely and put Dyer in the middle and Ben Davis on the left side of the centre-backs. Them three as 3 centre-backs. Put Reggie one side. And God knows who do we... I mean, you're struck between Bobo the Clown and I don't know, Homer Simpson. Because the 2 right-backs we've got are absolutely useless. I mean, we're the only club to buy a Brazilian that can't play football. I mean, where did they pick? What did Levy go down to Poundland to think? I'll buy him for about £1, €1. Yeah, let's get him. And all the other clubs are going to Harrods and the big stores in Canada and the big expensive stores in New York. And no, he just goes to Poundland. The man is a complete idiot. And I agree with William Kelly. I left there Sunday absolutely disillusioned with the whole thing. I mean, the only bright spark for me was I got a bit of football violence when I was waiting to get out of White Hart Lane Station. It was brilliant. I got the whole thing Sunday. I got a crap match and a bit of football violence, and it was brilliant. I was sitting on the train going back on the underground and going to Heathrow, thinking, I think I should have videoed that. That'd been great for the channel. A bit of football hooligans.
Right.
It was funny.
And I have to say, Jack, do you have William Kelly's number?
No, I don't.
Okay. I was about to say, if anyone has William Kelly's number and has my number, please give him my number, because I love that man. And the fact that, again, like people, I mean, I've just seen for the first time, I've just seen someone say they're a fan of mine from Fiji. I mean, the outward reach we have of the international Spurs fan base is, and not just me, I mean, for everyone, the parts of the world we reach, it's phenomenal. When you sit down, like I'm in my little room or my bedroom here at my parents in London, or if I'm back in Toronto, the thing that there's people like Gugama and all the other people in Asia and all around, it's incredible. And this is a guy I really want to connect with because I love him dearly.
No, yeah, absolutely. And William Kelly, he's come on the fan show a few times as well. William Kelly, let me know if you're available today, my man. Please hop on. Feel free to hop on, William Kelly. We want to speak to you, but he's saying it's soul destroying. I think this last one is soul destroying for a lot of reasons. Soul destroying to see a lot of players drop out of form. Soul destroying the fact that, we started to really believe, especially me, the sucker that I am, in top 4. I don't know, William Kelly. It's soul destroying for a lot of reasons, but he's also saying here, Brian, I'll always have your back, brother. Rise above it all.
Always. That's what I've learned. Listen, there's too much going on in the world, and if anything that I've learned with Bob Spur and his health and everything is like, if you gave me the choice, Parasite for another 20 years or Bob Speedy Recovery, guess what I'm picking every single time? Bob Speedy Recovery. Football is a love, a passion, a desire, but it's in the grand scheme of things, I could have lost my best mate. I could have been here doing a lot worse than seeing him get better. So it puts everything into perspective, doesn't it, really?
No, it does. Really well said there, Brian. Really well said. Beautifully put also here, William Kelly here. Beautifully put here. Love it. Absolutely love the camaraderie. Absolutely love the support for each other. Absolutely love the love. Beautifully Beautifully put, both of you. And Faz Radfar said, just joined. Have you heard about what Conte said today? Faz, believe me, we're going to be diving into it all over Kaneki Answer Me tomorrow. That's where we're going to really dive into it. Just came out. It feels like kind of right before the fan show. Haven't been able to really catch all of it. I was watching a bit of the Champions League as well, Faz. But we will be just covering it, practically every single inch of it, tomorrow on Kaneki Answer Me, my man. But big yourself up. Faz, hopefully you're keeping well, and do really appreciate support, as well as William Kelly. But Dermot, any other kind of, other talking points that you feel like maybe you want to get off your chest? Like, because I think there's, plenty to talk about. And I feel like there are a lot of interruptions, I do apologize for, coming from my end. But I mean, what else do you want to talk about still?
Well, apart from me trying to cuff up my left or right lung, hang on, just let me put it back down to my body again. I just want to leave everyone with these few, just a 2-minute thing. I've been supporting Tottenham for 42 years, and I've seen this go up, I've seen this go down, I've seen this win trophies, I've seen this not win anything. But at the end of the day, we all love this great club. And as disillusioned as I was Sunday, I was on the way back, and I got talking to this man, and he had a little boy there who was about 7, who went to his first Tottenham match. And it got me thinking, when I went to my first match, I was 4 years old in the 1981 Cup final. There on my uncle's shoulders, didn't know anything what was happening. But for then, I fell in love with this club. We will win again. We will come out of this stronger, better, and mightier. We will rise up from the ground, and the ashes and Bill, Nick's soul DNA will come back into our club again. So everyone, do not despair. Do not even cry. Smile. And remember who you support and where you come from, because we're all Tottenham Hotspur fans at the end of the day. Levy's only a passing blip in the Tottenham life cycle. It's like watching Star Trek. Spurs fans will boldly go when no Spurs fan has gone before, and that's right to the top, where we will win stuff again. We will be celebrating. Maybe not my lifetime, maybe not in Brian's or in Jack's lifetime.
Please God, in my lifetime, please God.
Yeah, but in your children, my grandchildren, your grandchildren, your children, grandchildren, Spurs will lift trophies, and we will win it again. Tottenham will rise, the cock will rise. So let's not give up on our club. Let's back the team. Let's not back Lee. Let's get Levy out. Let's back Conte all the way.
Correct.
Let's back the team, back Conte, and get Levy out. And everybody should now say, come on, you Spurs, because that is what we're here for. Levy out. And that's
well said.
Beautifully put, Dermot. Anything coming up on the channel? Maybe anything that we should find with Tottenham Tantric Gold? Maybe while I'm going to put the link in.
Yeah, me waking up in the morning and actually doing the show would be actually brilliant. Would be a good thing to start off with, because we haven't actually done one for the last few minutes. I have not been well. I will do one in the morning. We're back on at 11:30 in the morning. We have a Bill Nick special coming up, which I can't wait to do. We've got a few things in the pipeline. One show that I need to speak to you about, Brian. So I'll give you a call tomorrow, brother, about that.
Yes, sounds good to me, brother. Sounds good to me.
We're just looking to delve into a few different things of the club. We're going to look at each decade differently. We're going to start at the 60s, do the whole 60s decade, 70s, 80s, do player profiles. We're going to start doing them. And so the Bill Nick is the first one we're starting. So that's, I think, this week, but I'm not sure. But keep an eye on Top Tantrum on Twitter or on Facebook. We'll be putting the announcements up. But we're trying to get to 400 before the end of February. We're at 458 the last time I looked. So let's see, can we get up to there for February? But thank you. But please, everyone, subscribe to this channel. Dave, if you're watching, brother, it was lovely to meet you on Sunday, you and Ollie, and your mate Sean and Philip Brady. Get well soon. I will speak to you tomorrow. And everyone, please Show this channel some love. Get Brian up to 4,000. Let's get Tottenham on tour. Big up Brian Ireland as well, and everyone, Danny and Adam. Show the lads up top some love. We need some subscribers. Show everyone, every Irish Tottenham fan show. Let's get them all subscribed to, because we're all a community here. We're all one big family. And come on, you Spurs. And thank you very much for having me.
Good night, Dermot. Wish you better, brother.
Yeah,
Big
thanks,
up, Dermot.
See you later, Draco. Take care.
I'll speak to you. Well, I always speak to you. I always speak to you, Dermot. So I'll speak to you
I'm
soon,
going
my
to go
man.
and find my right lung. It's sort of walking out the door. Hang on.
I'll keep an eye for it. I'll
Yeah,
keep an eye on
it's
it.
got a little Levy out flag, so he's probably going to do some protesting
Won't be hard to find. Won't be hard to find. Won't be hard
I
to
don't know.
find.
He's got a pint of Guinness in one hand and a Levy out flag in the other, so he's got the right idea.
Beautiful. Dermot, there you are. If that everybody, if you're looking for that kind of humor, if you're looking also for who I think are the librarians, you know, the historians of Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, sorry, Jack. Can I just say sorry? It was Bobby Smith's birthday yesterday. The great striker of the '61 double winning side. So
the historian, everybody.
Yeah, it was his birthday yesterday. So everyone just wish Bobby Smith a happy birthday. And
Bobby Smith, good old Ribena.
Yeah, that's it.
Dermot, this is what I'm saying. Everybody, the link is right there. Head on over to Dermot's channel, everybody. On behalf of the Irish Hotspur, on behalf of David, I almost command you to get them over to 400 very, very soon. Just because they deserve it, but also just because Dermot right there just displayed, you know, the fact that he should have almost a doctorate in Spurs history. He should have a doctorate on everything having to do with Tottenham, and honestly is a historian, or even as a Spurs librarian, I would say. But Dermot, I mean, that was a great example of what they'll get over on that channel, as well as also just great news and great analysis on kind of contemporary things with Spurs as well. But Dermot, absolute pleasure as always, my man.
Bless you too. And come on, you Spurs, and leave.
Yeah, later, buddy. I have to know, what is almost command you? I'm intrigued by I almost command you to join the channel.
Well, you know, because, you know, maybe I could be held, you know, liable for it, you know, by Dave, you know, later, because, you know, it probably because I don't have the authority, you know, really to command. So I can almost command to an extent, but everybody head on over to Tottenham on a tour. That's what I can command. At least head on over there and check what they're all about. At least head on over there and check what they're all about. But everybody, I would say we've reached out all the end of the guests. So what I am going to do just quickly is I think I'm going to put the link out, everybody, for about like a minute. And the first person that comes on, I think, is welcome to come on for about 10 minutes. Maybe if two hop on right away, you're welcome to come on and we'll talk to you each for about 10 minutes. Then after that, I think we're just going to call it a night. Feels like people, you know, just want to have an earlier night. I don't want to push it any longer than I really need to, but we are going to put out the link. We don't really ever really do this. So I'll be honest, this is a good opportunity, really, everybody. But did just put the link out there. So everybody do check this out. If you want to hop on, feel free to hop on. Sorry, Brian and I will talk to you, and we'll probably give you about 10 minutes, you know, and we can probably do 2 people at most, maybe 3 if a bunch of you hop on super quickly. But apart from that, I think, you know, we're going to cap it at that, and then we're going to sign off because it seems like a kind of an early night. But you already got 2 right away. Sorry, no, Dermot's still in the back end here, but we already got Bun, which isn't a surprise. Not surprised he's getting his voice in here. Danny, how you keeping, my man?
I'm right. Can you hear me?
What's up, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys? Can you hear me well?
Yeah. I mean, Bun, would you want to be joined by William Kelly? Would you want to be joined by William Kelly?
Go for it.
Would you rather William, I think I'm going to add you on because I think you would vibe with Brian here and the Bun, but also just so you can be on with Brian as soon as possible. William Kelly, how you keeping, my man?
I'm good, Jack. How are you?
Doing well. Especially with this foursome. This is a nice one, I would tell you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Always a pleasure, William.
Oh yeah, definitely, Brian. Yeah. It's good to see you, buddy.
Always good, brother. Always a pleasure. I just realised I've got you on Facebook now, so I'll give you my number on Facebook. So
yes, yeah, so I was going to send a super chat to say that to you, but I knew you'd realise, man.
Yeah. Not just a hat rack, my friend. Give me half an hour to catch up to speed, and I'll get there.
That's it.
William,
Well,
and
what's
anything on your
happening
mind
to
from the weekend?
Spurs? Yeah, what's happening to our Spurs? Just the usual. It's just a nightmare, to be honest with you, and it's a nightmare that we can never seem to get out of. And the problem is Joe Lewis doesn't invest. Daniel Levy doesn't care less. He just cares about profit. We are screwed, Matt, basically, because I heard you talking earlier on, Newcastle are coming strong, very strong.
Yep.
And they're going to buy all the players that we go after, because the difference with them is they'll buy them early and we'll be left picking up scraps like Gedson Fernandez and people like that. And it's just going to be the same cycle over and over and over, All I want now is some rich billionaire Arab guy to walk in there, take Tottenham by the reins and pump money into that club and just get us up that table where we can actually compete on a level that us as fans deserve.
Correct.
There you are. I think well said, William Kelly. I think to an extent, it's good to have, Sean in here in case, he's got to check you on anything. Sean, how you keeping, my man? I would say maybe because of the lighting or something, the beard looks a lot fuller, I must imagine. The beard looks
you know what? This is the trick of the trade. When I leave this on, when I leave it off, I look like my usual ugly fat self. And then when I turn it on, I'm still ugly. I'm just a little bit less fat.
Do you know what?
I was just commenting on the beard. You took it to a whole nother level.
I've got a question. You've got to stop putting yourself down like that, mate. Because I think
we're not gonna. Another command, maybe another command. Brian. Maybe another command. Maybe we could make.
I think we're going to change the word command to demand. That you stop looking down.
I think we can certainly almost.
You're far from anything you just said, brother.
Yeah. It's all good. How are you guys doing anyway? I was only mucking around. How's everyone doing?
We're doing good. Wrapping up probably another 10 minutes. We're really not going to do this very much longer. I just figured since, there wasn't really, as normally we go through like 9, sometimes 10 people, but tonight nowhere near as many. So I figured I'd put the link in maybe in case anybody jumps on. And who would have thought just a bunch of regulars that I usually see on quite often have popped in right away. But maybe we can go through each person. I think Danny was the first one on. Danny, is there something maybe that's bogging you down Spurs wise, that's maybe on your mind that maybe talk about?
A little bit, Dak. I'm kind of getting fed up with some of these fucking Tottenham fans who are starting to turn on fucking Conte. I mean, it's absolutely mental. It's fucking ridiculous. I've started to see them start turning because of all the interviews that he said over the last 2 days and today. It's mind-blowing to think that some of the fan base actually believe that he's part of the problem why we've lost the last few games. Literally, the guy cannot do anything more than what he's doing. He ain't got fucking players to pick from. He's got fucking Harry Winks in midfield. Fucking Harry Winks. And Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who's just so out of form, you wouldn't believe it's the same player. How can he do better than with those fucking bunch of absolute degenerates of players, right, who don't deserve to be at this club? And people were saying, "Oh, but change the formation and change this." And you can change the formation to every single fucking formation the planet has got. That fucking anyone fucking creates, and you still can't fucking win with those players because they're just fucking shit. You could play like every single player at the back, right, and they'll still concede goals because they're shit. It's as simple as that.
Do you know what I think is kind of funny is with Antonio Conte? If anybody told me 3 years ago, like 3 years ago, someone tells me, Jack, I don't think Antonio Conte is getting the best out of Harry Winks. I don't think Antonio Conte is using Davinson Sanchez, correctly. I would kind of probably think to myself, I was like, what has happened to Antonio Conte where he's having to work with Harry Winks? I've even said this before, Danny. I'm actually every cent that Antonio Conte is being paid, I actually probably think he's being underpaid for the job that he has to do. The headaches that he would do, I would probably be every single night finding myself like just probably thinking, am I being paid enough to be, questioned about whether I'm using Harry Winks right in the midfield? Am I being paid enough to be questioned about whether Davinson Sanchez should yet again continue to start? Am I being paid enough, or and et cetera of things? So that's my thoughts on it. So I'm completely.
Could you imagine the mental stress? The mental stress, Jack.
No,
he'll get over it. He's getting paid £15 million a year. He can get over his stress on his super king-size bed that's made with the skin of.
William?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think if you had to deal with Harry Winks and being told that you're not using Harry Winks on a daily basis, Sean, I think no matter how much you're being paid, it gets to your head. It gets to your head.
Sorry, Jack. Can I just say to Sean, let me tell you, no matter what walk of life, Levy's child, how's it going? But it's not. I'm only joking, man. It's not about the money you earn. Money can only buy you so much. The mental stress can destroy all that in one go, man. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's easy for us as fans to go point the finger and go, Conte should play this formation and Conte should do this formation. But let's all just get together here for 1 second and say it as it is. He hasn't got the players.
Well, let me ask you,
William. Do you know what? To add to that,
the managers before him haven't had the players, and it's a cycle that keeps going.
Can I just add to that? Right. What I've seen from Conte in the last couple of interviews is that you can see over the course of the season, if there's anyone who cares about this club, right, it's him, because the way he is and his demeanor in some of those interviews, you can tell he feels exactly how the Spurs fan base feel like. That there's no ambition, there's no desire from the players to want to fucking win a game of football. I mean, these are fucking footballers, and they don't want to win a football match for that badge that they're representing. I mean, I've had enough of this shit from these players. And the thing is, do you know what, right? Do you know what? Because I was having arguments with people today on Twitter and whatever, and it just honestly, it's mind-blowing some of the things that people are still giving excuses to, because it's like this guy has basically said, right, we've had 5 managers now, right? In the last 4 years, we've had 5 managers, and every single one of them has been sacked, right? Including obviously Poch, who was our best manager in the Premier League era, right? And even he was the first one to call it, right? And yet yet the board didn't back him when he called it. They made the biggest mistake sacking him, and they know that now, right? And then they're trying to rectify it by bringing in other managers, and they pay managers a lot of money, right? Because they think, well, this guy didn't do it, so maybe this top manager can do it, right? But every single one of them has failed because it's the same players who are just not motivated to play football for this football club, or they're just not technically or talented. They're not talented enough to play for this football club. They're not even talented enough to play in this league. And you can say, people can say all they want about the system or whatever, but when you have the same players, it doesn't make a difference. You could have fucking Jesus Christ managing us. You could have Gandhi as the Gandhi risen from the dead, fucking trying to motivate these players, and they won't motivate him to fucking kick a ball 5 yards properly. It's just not going to happen because they're just not good enough.
Danny's not going to work. Danny's promoting peace.
I'm just going to add on to that, because if you look at Poch did his we need a real build, the whole furniture and the dream house thing, and nothing got done. Then when Mourinho came in, everyone slated him, as in the fan base, but when he came, I've got a great team, I can do great things with this team. And everyone said, well, why are you lying? He's come out and said this, he's come out and said that, when it's obviously not true, he's just said that. But now we've gone the other end of the scale, where Conte's come out and called it as it is. And fundamentally, and everyone, when we hired Conte, said, right, this is it. This is the manager that ain't going to take any crap. This is the manager that's going to call it as it is. This is the manager that will tell everyone. So we've gone from not listening to Pochettino when he said rebuild furniture house. We've gone from Mourinho in that first interview when he said, when I evaluate the squad, I think we can do things, which later on we saw was a lie. And we had a go at Jose Mourinho for saying, how could he say that? We obviously don't have the team. And now Conte's saying that, we're saying Conte's wrong, or there's fan base. So wait a minute. These are the fan base that were calling Mourinho a liar, for saying he could win things. And now we're calling Conte a liar, or not we, but members of the for saying
fraud is what people are calling him now.
Yeah, so it's like, wait a minute, you've got to. They've all said this in whatever method, whether it be Mourinho trying to paper over the cracks, it could be cracks, in saying, "Yep, I can do things with this team. I've got the nucleus of a winning team," which we obviously knew he didn't, and it went to show we obviously didn't. And then we've got Conte, and he's coming out and doing exactly what all the Spurs fans wanted it, whether you're Levy in or Levy out, calling it as it is. And now he is calling it as it is. He's damned for saying that. It's like I said, always finger pointing wherever. You can't say Mourinho was wrong, but then when Conte is confirming that Mourinho had it right, or sorry, wrong, and he's saying, yeah, he's got it wrong, we haven't got the players, then say, well, no, you're lying. This is the bit I don't get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to later when, Gandhi is manager and we move to that 4-4-2 that everybody, everybody's asking for a 4-4-2. I honestly feel like Gandhi probably is quite good at actually the 4-4-2, kind of a Sean Dyche. He's probably actually the new Sean Dyche, actually, you would say, Gandhi. Maybe the Sean Dyche before Sean Dyche. And actually, we're all calling for a 4-4-2 now, so maybe that's who we should maybe we should sack Conte, hire him, and then, say, Gandhi out after that. But Sean, I think you were trying to say something at one stage, but maybe we already got past it.
No, there's a couple of things. Like, first of all, I mean, I don't know if people are conflating certain things. Like, I don't think anybody, there was very, very few people. When I looked on Twitter, when I heard this whole Conte out narrative after the Wolves game, I went on Twitter and looked for Conte out, and it was a handful of idiots that had zero engagement. Like, they had like 1 like, 2 likes, whatever. Yeah. There was no major like popular names with popular engagement saying Conte out. There was no, but there's always going to be.
Just going to say, just to let you know, if you watch the fan show on We Are Tottenham TV or fan shows afterwards, there are loads of people in live chats, which could be just be trollers from other teams. Could very simply, but the whole thing.
I think what Sean's trying to say is that it's a minority, man. Just ignore them. That's what I always say.
But in terms of so I don't think anyone. I definitely think the majority of people, an absolute small minority of people, that are just shooting from the hip, right? They're angry after a bad performance. A bad performance, by the way, where it was 2 individual mistakes by a guy who's usually one of our most like senior and secure players, and then you're 2-0 down after 20 minutes against a team that has the second best defensive record in the Premier League. It was always going to be a hard task to come back from that, try as we did. But what I would take an objection to some of the thoughts tonight is Conte going on to a press conference with Sky Italia or whoever it was, saying things that some would interpret as he's just being honest, but there are a different group of people that could interpret that as a man who is looking to find excuses to lay the seeds, lay the groundwork for an excuse where he can walk away knowing that he can leave whatever, and hopefully his reputation will be intact. I'm just positing an interpretation, a perspective, right, where he can walk away with his reputation intact because he knows there is a large percentage of people that will go, Conte is infallible. Conte is the best manager on paper that we've ever had. And if it didn't work out, it's because of poor investment or lack of investment or the players on the pitch or whatever else. And all I'm saying with regards to the comments today are he walked into the job in October, late October. There's been one window. Whether you think it was a great window or a shit window or whatever, and opinions, perspectives can change with the benefit of hindsight. But January, everyone knows, is a difficult window. And yet there is nothing more anyone can do, not Daniel Levy, not Paratici, not Conte, or the players. We cannot change the players that we have between now and the end of the window. What possible benefit does it have to anybody at Tottenham Hotspur, apart from Conte, if he's trying to protect his reputation, than to say the players that came in versus the players that have left essentially leaves us weaker? And I'm not a manager who is used to doing this long-term project. It might suit Tottenham's idea, but it's not really something I'm used to. I need players that are ready now, and these players are players for the future. That is, in a nutshell, in my opinion, the way I perceived it to be, the way that he was, like, paraphrasing what he said today. Or the 2 players that came in left us weaker than the 4 players that left, and Tottenham have got, and I'm just now realizing the model that Tottenham have. If he's saying it how he sees it, then he should have seen that before he joined, if it was a problem. If he's saying it and he hasn't got a problem with it, if he's saying, I'm okay with the project, 'cause he never actually criticized the project, he just said, this is the project as I now see it. But if he does see it as not a problem, then why fucking say it? Because all you're going to do is piss... Hang on, one second. All you're going to do is disrupt the players that you have. There is absolutely zero benefit in the things that he said today to the 23 players in our squad. Every one of them is going to hear that and say, well, he doesn't think that we're good enough to do anything right now. And there's still 45% of the season to go. And when he says there's a 1% chance of us finishing top 4, for me, like, it's okay for people to hate Daniel Levy, but also have a problem with Antonio Conte saying those things. Opinions don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can think that Conte saying that stuff was wrong, right? And not from your opinion about Daniel Levy, but I think a lot of people who hate Daniel Levy don't want to give any credibility to the idea that Conte was wrong to say that. And in my opinion, it has to help.
Sean, I got to stop you there. But the reason I stop you there is because it's like you said when we did your show, when you said on the 28th of January, Levy out, people were rubbing their hands at no transfer. That is not the case. We never were rubbing our hands at the thought of no transfers, and we don't just because we Levy out. I have been blaming Conte for tactics of those last 2 games. I played 3.
You have.
He's not exempt from criticism just because he is the almighty.
Correct.
I don't say this as a joke. I'm honestly, if you look at it, yesterday, another PR, absolute ridiculous move. Oh, Spurs are delighted to announce our pre-season tour of Korea in the summer in July. 5 months notice. Well, maybe we give him 5 months. Listen, we've known this team is inept. We've known that this team can't reach the highs. And if they're getting called out, they're getting called out. They need something. We can't just keep money cuddling them and saying, yeah, you're really good. Let's just take you under. They need some home truths. But I completely get what you're saying from, and it is concerning that Conte has come out this early and done it. But I think this is a huge, like I was saying when Bobby or Brian Ireland was on, but I think this is going to be a continued thing, gradually throughout the season, just to get it into the board. And I'm not just saying Levy, per attitude, the scouting network, to say, right, I'm now giving you your warning that this summer, the big summer, is I'm not going to let you forget this is what we need.
But do you think it's going to be do you think that Kulusevski and Bentancur are going to go, awesome? I'm glad he said that. Or do you think they're going to go, oh, fucking hell?
Well, I don't think when you look at Kulusevski and Bentancur, I don't think he's talking to them. They've literally just got here.
Yeah, he said we're net weaker.
No, listen, Sean.
No, that's out of context, Sean.
Yeah, when Conte said that we can't get top 4, okay, what he's doing there, and what you don't understand is, what he's trying to do is he's trying to take the pressure off these players too, because the immense pressure at the moment on these players, it must be colossal.
Maybe.
Yeah. You can see that in the games. The reason why they made a
mistake. He's putting the flak onto him.
He's not taking any flack onto him, mate. There's no flack on him.
On Wednesday, he took it. There was part of the preview. You know,
Conte is not afraid to take flack either. He can take it too. At the end of the day, we all know this team is not good enough to get us to the promised land, which is Champions League and then on further. Okay, we all know that. William, got to be honest about that.
Let me ask you this quick question, then. I'll just quick question and put it out there, and I'll let you go. Is Tottenham's 24-man squad, is it on paper better than Southampton's?
Yes.
Yeah, you would like to think that, Sean.
Okay, is it better on paper than Wolverhampton Wanderers?
Ooh. Individually, yes, but as a team unit, no.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I would agree that all of these teams you're talking about, Sean, as a team, they are better than us because they are playing. They are dying for each other. They are fighting for each other.
Yeah.
And as what Brian said,
isn't it Conte's job?
No, mate, they've been doing this for 5 years.
So what's Conte's job then, mate? What is Conte's?
Sean, man. All of these fucking managers have done the same thing for the last 5 years, and they can't get a tune out of these fucking players. It's the same players, man. You just said Conte.
No, I'm not blaming Conte. I'm just asking a question. On paper, if you agree that we're better than Southampton, if you agree that on paper we're better than Wolves, I haven't asked you about West Ham. Do you think on paper we have a squad that is as good, better than, or worse than West Ham or Arsenal? Right? I know the answer with Manchester United. I know that they're better than us. I get it, right? On paper.
No, I don't. I don't think we do.
No, we don't. We don't. Because the only players that are good enough is Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and Hugo Lloris. And Romero. That is it. Everyone else has got better players than us. That is the only reason you're saying that we've got a better team on paper is because we've got those 4 players in our squad, right? Because they're world-class players, right?
I didn't say we did, Danny. I'm asking the question, right? And the only reason I'm asking the question is because if the answer to any of the above is yes, if it is to any of the above, right, then like it or not, the role of a manager is important for certain things. And one of those things is to figure out how to get them playing together. Now,
they can't play together.
Okay, well then Conte ain't worth 15 million quid a year then, bro.
Conte is doing better. Conte's doing better than what Nuno was doing. Nuno was losing 3-0 every fucking game.
What about the first 8 games, Sean? What about the first 8 games? What about the first 8 games?
We were first after 4 games.
What about Conte's first 8 games? What did he do? Yes, what did he do in the first 8 games? Yes. Hold on, give me a second, please. What we constantly see is the same players that for a while, they'll get that little bit better and they'll do what they're told to do, and then the wheels come off. And that's what's happened. The wheels have progressively come off once again.
William, what happens in the history of football, in the history of all of the years of the Premier League, when you can't fire 24 players, right? I'm not suggesting. Listen,
I'm not saying to fire 24 players.
My point here is not to criticize Conte. I'm just putting a perspective out there that the guy is the highest paid staff member at Club Tottenham Hotspur, right? He is supposed to be one of the best managers in the world, if not top 3, top 2, whatever you want to take on it. Is it not up to him? If he can't get them to play, then okay, 1 second, Brian. If he can't get them to play, then do we not, as fans, have to lower our expectations to the point where we shouldn't be as angry as we are about losing 2 in a row?
But Sean, we have to lower our expectations because of the owners that own this club. That's why our expectations have to be lower. And look, I know your stance on things, and I 100% respect you, and I'm not going to have a massive argument with you. Okay? But the thing is, and you know yourself, the investment from Joe Lewis, and I'm not going after Levy here, I'm going after Lewis. Joe Lewis has not invested in this football club the way it should have been.
All right, guys, I was gonna let it.
And he hasn't. He does not. If you look at a Roman Abramovich.
But it's not.
I think, Sean, I was gonna let it go till 3 hours.
Oh, good.
We got 3 in. Seemed like that was gonna lead to practically never-ending. It was never gonna even reach a cul-de-sac. It was never gonna reach an end point. But I am gonna kind of take you guys all off because I think Brian and I deserve probably a good moment to maybe plug Brian, I would say, for a good stage. But do really appreciate you all tuning in. A rare opportunity for the link to be put out in the chat on the Irish Hotspur, and you guys certainly took advantage of it. Really do appreciate you guys coming on, and we'll catch you later, certainly, because a lot of you guys are absolute regulars over here. So we'll catch you later.
Cheers, guys.
All right, bye.
See you later, people.
I gotta boys, it's been a pleasure.
Okay.
William, I'll message you.
William Kelly, absolute legend. Catch you soon, my man.
My
Bye,
brother. My brother.
Got 2 super chats in here just quickly from Bottom Duda. I am putting out, everybody, Brian's channel here for Tottenham on Tour. He's going to explain what's going on over there. But also, everybody, just while I'm kind of just chatting away, feel free to head on over there and give them that subscribe. I think you're around 60 away, I think, from the big 4K.
Let's check.
Brian.
I haven't checked. We were 60 away. Have we gone up at all?
I'm not sure, but I think you'll start maybe hopefully going up right now. But
yeah, hopefully.
60 away from the big 4K, everybody. But the Bottom Duda says, get Conte, the City squad, and he will get you more than 1 trophy. This was more than relevant to that discussion.
Yeah.
And he says, get Guardiola, the Spurs squad, and he will finish 10th. I actually feel like Guardiola would do worse with this squad than actually Conte would. I actually genuinely believe that.
I agree with you.
Has never, ever had to deal with players like this. I mean, I couldn't imagine him trying to work with a Ben Davies or a Davinson Sanchez or something like that.
You got to look, Jack, at the way when you watch, if anyone's watched the Man City All or Nothing like we did, and you watch the way that they move with the ball and just spread the ball around and keep it and then just pounce. We haven't got the football intelligence to be able to play Guardiola football. Whether we'd want to or not, these players fundamentally could not play that style of football, period.
I completely agree. And to Bottom Duda, I would say Pep Guardiola with Davinson Sanchez and Emerson. I'd say he finished 9th. I think he would intentionally try to finish outside Europa Conference League. Maybe that's where you go for it, but there's certainly no total football with these players. I'll tell you that. And he, again, with another big one to Bottom Duda, absolute legend tonight. Really, really, really generous. He says Conte did the same when Inter weren't paying their players' salaries. He united the team together, but Conte will walk. I have followed his career for long enough. He doesn't want to manage Roma after this. It seems like I would actually argue that I feel like maybe he personally to Bottom Duda. I know what you're trying to say here. I would argue that I think he is actually going to stay maybe for some time period, just because it feels like, why did he take a job that everybody knows is almost a dumpster fire? Everybody knows is, a house that you're trying to build, while it's on fire. It's almost like, trying to assemble a car while it's moving, sort of club. It's just so many messes. I feel like the reason he took it is potentially he is trying to maybe settle down a bit more with the club, and maybe with Inter. You could say that he was, seeming like he wanted to settle down with Inter, but, the finances and the investment and everything kind of, didn't make that possible. And you could probably say that had he maybe been given the investment, had he maybe, continued, with, Inter, if nothing had gone wrong, he probably would have stayed there for a while, I would imagine. So to Bottom Duda, I'm starting to think that maybe there's a softer side to Conte where maybe he does want to stay a lot longer, but I completely agree with you. He does unite the team, and he does, bring everything together. And maybe he is, all the evidence suggests that he will walk. I can't deny that to Bottom. All the evidence suggests that he would walk.
Correct. The other thing is as well, you look at it, and Sean was saying earlier about Conte, and if he's here and he's out for himself, he said he should know these things with the squad, but also Levy should know what Conte's demands were if he came and what he does. And let's put it this way, let's just say the worst of the worst happened, the worst of the worst, and he walks and he takes the United job. Let's just say, hindsight, I'm not saying he will, I think he'll stay if he's backed. If he went to United, United win the league within 2 years, because United would go, right, what do you need? And I know people are going to go, United got so much more money, they can do what they want. But if you get a manager like Conte in, you back him and get him what he wants. And I keep bringing it back to when Inter Milan went and got Ashley Young. He doesn't need. When we talk about Conte buying people, we're not talking about going out and buying elite £150 players. He doesn't do that. He identifies fantastic players at a decent price
for his system
and utilises them. He doesn't go, right now I'm at United, right, I want Neymar, I want Mbappe. He'll get the players that he knows can fit in his system, play his method of football, and he'll get backed and they'll come. If he went to United, United win the league within 2 years. Period.
Big up. I mean, great comment there, Brian. And Bottom Duda, hopefully he stays for a while, but all the evidence suggests the opposite. But to Bottom Duda, I just want to say, just maybe you were supposed to even go to bed before.
I think he was, yeah.
You're supposed to go to bed, but he keeps going on. But I just want to say massive thank you. It really does help the channel a lot. And it's also way too generous. But also, as always, to Bottom Duda, really great talking points from the first one you ever put in. Always unbelievable talking points, but really good to have you in here, to Bottom Duda. Really do appreciate it. And then lastly, Richard Black Dog says, I wish the squad had half this panel's passion. I mean, it felt that way after the London Derby, actually, at one stage. When I saw Chris actually at one stage felt like he was almost purple during the fan show, the way he was talking about the players. I mean, it just, I completely agree, Richard. I completely agree. But big yourself up, my man, especially in Brian's case, especially in Brian and David's case as well. But big yourself up, Richard. But Brian, you know, the links in the chat, everybody, to everybody that's still in the house, please head on over to Tottenham on Tour. We are doing, of course, our kind of Friday collab with them over on this channel. This coming Friday would be around, I believe, 3 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. New York, USA, Eastern Standard Time. But Brian, you know, plenty of people, you know, are definitely subscribed there, but there could be maybe some few that maybe aren't. What can they find over at Tottenham on Tour?
So they can find quite a few. First of all, thank you to all the Harris Army and both yourself and Jack.
And also, sorry, Brian, thank you so much for, you know, serving alongside me today as well.
Mate, it's been it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege, and I wish David Barron, if you ever need me, you know, I'm always here for you too. This is the great thing with Tottenham YouTube. We've created this very strong family bond, not just with the streamers themselves, but with the people in the chat, which is so refreshing. Like if you watch any of these other channels from other teams, there just doesn't seem to be that unity where people are talking amongst themselves in the chat and get to know each other. It's just a wonderful thing to be a part of. And yeah, Tottenham on Tour is where you can find me. You just saw Mr. Danny Kiriakou. I don't need to sing it because I've sung it already. And Adam Clark and Brian Ireland. There's lots and lots we've got coming. When I get back to Canada as well, and Brian Ireland and I are on the same time, there'll be a lot more brand new content coming. But what I will say, we're in the final days of February now. And obviously at the beginning of February, we did a mental health show. And we're raising money for mental health charities, 50% for one back home in Canada and one for here. And we're doing that till the end of February. Last time I checked, we were at 777 Canadian dollars. They'll be split two ways. So mental health is a big mental health addiction and all the things that go with it is a big thing with Tottenham on Tour. But we have loads of ideas, loads of new content coming up, and it's only going to grow bigger and be more great content from when I get back to Canada and we can put these kind of ideas into fruition. But if you like what I have to say or don't like what I have to say, but also the other three great guys, and I'm nothing without them three. I'm nothing without them three. They give me the platform. We all give each other the platform, and it's a great big family there, and we welcome everyone. And if you want to come over and join the Tottenham on Tour family, please hop over by pushing that great link that Jack and David just put up for me. And like I said, Harris Army, it's been a privilege and a pleasure. And Jack and David, if you ever need me again, you know where I am, and I look forward to coming on the channel Friday.
We'll know where to find you. Big up, Brian. Exactly. Everybody head on over to Tottenham on Tour. 60 away last time at Jack from 4K. Hopefully we can get them a lot closer to that, everybody. So please, everybody, go on over there. Give them that Romero headbutt on the big subscribe button, which is basically, you know, not too hard where it's like a Zidane sort of level, but, you know, kind of a faint, you know, sort of touch on it. You know, that's not too violent or anything. I would say go give them a big Romero headbutt on that big red button over on Tottenham on Tour. Really would appreciate it, everybody. And again, you'll be seeing Brian this Friday, everybody, as always, when it comes to everything. Potomac, Dave, you know, he's just extremely sick from, you know, his travels. I think he's just recovering. Yeah, he's just recovering from the result, and he's recovering from everything. I think that might have been passed around potentially, you know, but hopefully, you know, he'll be all good at the end of the day. I think he'll be at least a bit better by tomorrow. Might be on the mend. I'm not sure, but we will let you know, Potomac. And regards to what you've been saying about Son, I would say that is quite absurd. I think I was going to say this earlier on We Are Tottenham TV, Potomac, but I wasn't asked the question, so I wasn't able to really answer it. But when people talk about, Son maybe not being in good form, sometimes I kind of say, like, maybe he isn't in the best sort of form, but is his version of bad form, like, still ending up sometimes with 2 goals and assist? Sometimes, people will say he didn't have a good game, but then you'll see he still had 2 goals and an assist and, still practically carried the team to the results. So Potomac, I completely see where you're coming from, my man. But that'll be all for now. In terms of everything, everybody else as well, do head on over to the second channel. Just want to say I am releasing a video on all of the players outside Europe's top 5 leagues that maybe Spurs should keep an eye on. And I know Levy should, especially because lots of deals to be looked at over there. But that'll be all for now. As always, everybody, do hit that like, do hit that subscribe on your way out. Do hit that like button on your way out as well. Thank you to everyone that gave in the super chats. Thank you to everybody that came on the show. Thank you to Brian for joining me for tonight. But Brian, maybe might as well do it together. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
And Levy out.
And as always,
I was trying to time it. It's hard to do it online, time things together.
And as always,
maybe we should do it with the fingers. Levy out. Oh, just quickly, we have something in here from Kafkov Gaming. Said, did you hear Conte's damning review today? We're going to break it all down, everybody, tomorrow. Kaniki answer me tomorrow. For those that are still here, Kaniki answer me tomorrow. We will be breaking down everything Conte had to say. Just going to cover every single inch of it, and also stats with Jack tomorrow. So still plenty of content, everybody. Thank you very much, Kafkov Gaming. No, thank you very much. But there's your answer, my man. We're going to cover everything tomorrow. But back out. Come on, you Spurs, and Conte we trust. Everywhere we go.